everyone, and welcome to the ZBN podcast. This is our post-E3 wrap-up. We're going to have a chat about all of the video games that came out or were announced at this year's E3 in all the conferences. I'm joined by Spigel.
There you go again with that ZBN thing. It's never going to let that die.
You're going to bring that up.
I can't help it.
Why do you make me host? It's a trap every time.
Because I told you I'm sick, and I didn't want this to be the first thing that people heard. So, by the way, I may be sniffling and coughing today, so just ignore it. Hopefully you can do that.
We're also joined by Josh.
Hey.
And Todd.
Hello.
And yeah, so E3 2016, that's the year. It was pretty good, wasn't it? We had some good games got announced.
I thought it was awesome. A lot of people are talking down on this year's E3. I thought it was great.
I think it was one of the best E3s we've had in a couple of years.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, like just all around. Even the dull moments weren't as bad as some past E3s.
I mean, I don't know.
We can have our disagreements on that.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that, but you know, we'll get there. So, just to jump straight into it, we started off E3 2016 started off with EA on the Sunday, I want to say. They did an old press conference that didn't need to be done. You can see our reactions to that on our channel, but they start off with Titanfall 2. Does anyone have any opinions on Titanfall 2?
Well, hopefully it'll have more players than the first one. Just putting that out there. It looked nice, though, for what it was.
I was just going to say it looked fine, like gameplay-wise. It looked like an okay game. It just looked...
Yeah.
Like it exists.
It looks like a fun shooter that I'm probably never going to play personally, but it looks fun.
I thought it looked so generic. Like, I'm just not interested in generic sci-fi shooter anymore. That was unique, like, 6 years ago.
Yeah, you're basically just playing a shooter with Bastion from Overwatch everywhere.
Although, I will say the single player campaign trailer that they had, straight up Optimus Prime.
That was definitely.
I was waiting for Shia LaBeouf to come in and yell Optimus.
Yeah, the parkour stuff looked cool though, like the mobility and like the grappling hooks and all that stuff. So that looked.
You would like the grappling hooks.
I would like the grappling hooks, wouldn't I? That's kind of.
Yeah.
You know what game didn't have any grappling hooks? Madden 17.
That would be insane if they did.
Does anyone have anything? I have nothing on Madden 17. I think it looks incredibly disappointing, just like every other Madden. Madden does not show well at E3, and I think most of these sports games, I feel like you do well just to not show them.
That one was probably
I think I'm with you on
the one they tried the hardest to hype up the most. I mean, Battlefield 1 already had its hype going into the show, but this one they were
all
really
that time on the esports stuff, and it's just like, why are you doing this?
And here's the tourney. Bye. They're gone. They're gone.
Yeah, it was just like, why? Here's some sweaty neckbeards. They're going to have a tournament.
He really did.
We're not going to show you the tournament.
I was shocked that they said that there were professional Madden players. I just thought that was a game people played on their couches at home, and they don't take it that seriously.
He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the best Madden player in the world. I've been honing my craft for 16 years. Like it's a craft. It's a real skill. It's a real impressive to be that good at Madden. When I see someone that's good at like a fighting game, I'm like, wow, you're dedicated. When I see someone who's good at Madden, I'm like, you should just watch real sports and just not Madden ever.
It's as much of a craft as macaroni and cheese.
Hey, making macaroni and cheese is an art. I would excuse you if you would never
I was
offend
making
the
a
Blue
pun
Box
off the
ever
company
again.
that makes macaroni and cheese, Josh.
Don't worry, I got it.
Josh, have you ever tried putting garlic powder in your like shells and cheese? Because it's really good.
Oh, I'm not
surprised.
sure about that.
Try a little garlic powder.
You should put it in.
Welcome to the
an omelet.
new cooking
That
segment here
might
on the ZBN.
sully the taste of my shells and cheese. I need it pure. I
You
don't
gotta
know.
have some garlic powder. It's delicious.
Anyway, there was also more fluff about some other sports games.
Yeah, so
I mean, there was Mass Effect first, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, but then to be in the spirit of EA, there wasn't much to even talk about. Just to be like, we just brush over it really fast, just like they did.
I'm sorry. I said that before the show started that it was so disappointing they might as well have just not showed anything. Like it really was. It was like one of the most excited things people were most excited for, and they just didn't show anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a bit lame, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
I was fully expecting a Mass Effect demo because I was giving EA too much credit going into it.
Never give EA too much credit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll have to wait a few weeks, months before they show us more Mass Effect.
Although didn't they show that the June buggy or whatever it is from the first game?
Yeah, the Mako.
Weren't you excited about that? Like, I mean, at least there's something.
They showed 3 seconds of the Mako being driven across these alien landscapes.
I just wanted to have some sort of positivity there, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of intense, great games, positivity, FIFA 17 has managers now. How good.
You don't know what they do, but you will.
Alex Hunter.
So people are going to talk about the Alex Hunter thing, and that was awkward, yeah. But we want to talk about the Peter Moore interview with Jose Mourinho or whatever his name was. Like the manager just came out on stage and he had like 2 lines. It was so awkward.
It
was
that was super cringe.
I watched that again, and looking back on it, I think that might have been one of the cringiest E3 moments maybe ever. That was really bad.
That was bad.
But as for the game, it looks fine. I think the story mode looks like crap. Anyone getting excited is forgetting how bad NBA 2K16's story mode was.
They made such a mistake by showing the real life comparison and then being like, and here's what he looks like in the video game. All too smoothed out, hardly any detail on him. But we don't know if they'll develop on it more. I don't know. But yeah, it was
yeah, that was a bit rough, wasn't it? So then we saw Fe, don't know how to pronounce.
It's Fe.
Is it Fair?
Fe.
Okay, it's Fe. Okay. EA.
There's a 95% chance EA will show an indie game at their conference, Master.
With that whole thing, they showed the EA originals, and I feel like that was almost them just being like, oh, people liked it when we showed someone who actually cared about video games last year with Unravel. Let's do that every year now. Let's just, maybe people won't hate us as a company if we do this. And the game looks great. Like, the game looks like a lot of fun, and I want to play it, but I don't think I like that from a corporate marketing machine move. It just seems really uncomfortable that EA are doing that.
It comes across as totally disingenuous, which is, that's uncomfortable.
It's like they're exploiting.
Yeah,
it's like they're exploiting genuine people who care about video games to make themselves look good, and I don't like it. It's really off-putting.
Also, Dan, it's a little misleading for you to say they showed the EA originals, plural, because they just teased all these indie games that they're going to have, and then they only showed Fee.
They totally did that, didn't they? EA originals, 1 a year.
Now, that game in itself
it should be
really felt like almost a spiritual successor to Journey a bit.
Yeah, it kind of felt like
it. It did have kind of
in a fashion. Yeah. It used the music as a main element, just like communication-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
it looks good though. It looks cool.
I know, Todd, you were describing it in the reaction as like the stuff that happens before Journey.
Yeah, something like maybe
in the lore of Journey. It kind of looks like that.
Oh, that could
be like the wildlife.
I haven't played Journey, so I don't know.
Before the like nuclear war.
Interesting. Yeah, that's some headcanon right there.
Yeah, obviously. I have nothing to base that on.
So then EA moved on to Star Wars. We hyped it up, but we're not actually going to show you anything apart from one shot of a dude walking out of a doorway.
Yeah, so, they quote-unquote showed 3 Star Wars games, right? Like, they didn't really show anything at all. And, like...
3?
I have DICE and Motive Star Wars game, I've got Visceral Star Wars game, and I've got Respawn Star Wars game, and they announced, 3 more.
Okay.
Like, do you think that's enough?
The fact...
I know Star Wars is, like, a big franchise, but do you need to milk it this much? They're just going to run into the ground, and it's just going to disappoint everybody. I'm sorry to be so negative.
That we don't know the titles and you're referring to them by like the developer names is a bit awkward because I know there's one that's an action adventure. There's another Battlefront coming out, and then I don't know what the third one is. Like I have no idea. Like
I think they really just said, and that's coming out the year after that kind of thing. Like cool, I guess, but it's not really how you're supposed to show a game at E3. Is to just say that it's gonna exist eventually, you guys. Or why would we lie?
The 3 games that I cared about at this conference, like they barely showed any of at the conference itself. Mass Effect Andromeda showed barely anything. The new Star Wars action adventure game made by the Dead Space guys, like that's really exciting. They showed like 2 seconds of in-game footage, presumably, and then they showed a little bit of Battlefield 1. Granted, they showed more of that after the conference, but still.
Battlefield 1 looks pretty good though. You guys are, I think, excited for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think it showed really well at the show. Again, they had that trailer which looked really nice. The 64 like player gameplay that they showed afterwards was kind of fun to watch. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the game looks really nice. I'm not into shooters because I suck at them, but it's cool to see that they showed one thing that was successful in getting everybody excited and looking really good. So
The music choice for that trailer was kind of weird.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, Josh. There's one band that we thought would have been just perfect. What was it, Josh?
Franz Ferdinand, and use the song "Take Me Out."
It's spelled out right there. It's a World War I game. Franz Ferdinand. Wow. It's right there. It's right there.
Meanwhile,
it couldn't be any more obvious.
Meanwhile, the song they chose, like, in the context of the trailer, it works okay. But if you listen to the song by itself,
that song is about like marijuana. That's the whole song. Like
that would explain why they cut away to Snoop Dogg smoking a joint during the 60-foot player gameplay. That was great.
I think the most awkward thing about the Battlefield 1 trailer, though, is that I saw it about 3 times. Like, they showed it once, and then they stopped showing it so that someone could talk, and then they showed it again.
It was like...
And then it was shown again at either Sony or Microsoft, and I was like, I've seen this trailer so many times now, why? Why keep showing it to me?
The first one was the only one that I understood showing multiple times, because when they first showed it, they had their own special streaming for it, and they like showed it 3 or 4 times, and it was cool because the song was actually decent, and it showed stuff that we didn't know anything about. But this one was just, all right, I guess I understand that they thought, oh, people liked rewatching the first one 3 times. Let's show them this one.
Yeah.
And it didn't show much more than we already knew.
Yeah, guys, I wonder if the pigeons are going to be a gameplay mechanic. I mean, they really focused on that.
What do you all rate EA then?
Out
of 10. And what would you say was the game of their show?
I would say that Battlefield 1 was their game of show, but I gave them a 5 out of 10 overall.
Yeah. I'm with you on a 5 out of 10, but I would have said Fee would be their game of show, because Fee looks wonderful.
You guys really like those indie stylized games, I've noticed.
I'm on board with Todd here. I thought Battlefield showed really well. I think Fee was interesting, but
yeah.
I'm almost getting tired of all these indie games. Like, oh, we're going for the artsy look, and we're not really doing anything. Like, oh, it's unique and it's special, but I don't know. It's almost getting samey at this point, which is weird to say.
In the conference itself, I'd say Fee had the best showing, and in that specific context, won the EA specific game of show. But the gameplay they had afterwards for Battlefield 1, I think, set that equal to, if not better than, how I reacted to Fee.
That's my part that I'm like, I have this thing where I'm sort of counting the Battlefield 1 thing as part of EA's conference a bit. It happened in the same stream. It happened like a minute right after their stream ended, and they had a like 2-minute segment to it kind of thing. So I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it was I guess that's my bias where that's how I graded it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have a bias against that because I had to go do laundry right after the conference proper was over. So.
Fair enough. So yeah, 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Anyone disagreeing with that?
No, I give it a 5 too. I was too easy on it the first time around. I feel like because we didn't have anything to compare it to, I was way too easy on it. So I have to dock it down a few points to a 5.
Yeah, Spiegel, what are you?
I gave it a 5 as well. By the way, in case you heard it, my you know how my cat was in heat before we did the pre-show? Yeah. Now my cats are fighting, so you can probably hear that on the. So my cat's just constantly making podcast appearances now.
Amazing, I love it. So then we move on swiftly on to Bethesda, where they showed a lot of DLC and not much.
I've got 4 actual games on my list for Bethesda, and it was
2 of those showed they were just CG cutscenes as well.
Quake Champions, right? Quake Champions was announced. That was a big surprise. Anyone have anything to say though on it?
I'm so tired of those kind of remakes. Duke, was it Duke Nukem? Was the other one?
Duke Nukem Forever.
There wasn't much to build on that one, and then there is even less to build on Quake. It's just a bit of a rant right now, but Quake is just like how like Ocarina of Time can be good, like arguably good, but Quake is just, it was one of the first arena shooters. That doesn't mean it's good. It was one of the first, very basic. I don't think it deserved to be remade. By Bethesda, they could have remade like Fallout 1 or 2.
Yeah, but they're clearly trying to ride the coattails of Doom right now, the success of Doom. Like that's totally obvious.
Doom was a good one, and so they're trying to just be like, all right, guys, but I'm already, it's a fast fad that I'm tired of already.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to strike lightning twice.
Wolfenstein.
I don't know.
They did Wolfenstein 2, or someone did, didn't they? Was that?
Maybe.
Yeah, that was it that did
Wolfenstein.
It in Bethesda.
Wolfenstein was fine. But see, that's because those actually built on top of it already. Doom actually added stuff to the series. This is just Quake. They're in random columns shooting each other with abilities.
Well, we don't know enough about it yet.
We haven't seen any gameplay.
Right,
yet,
but
so
as far as we showed, I'm tired of it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. As far as it's been shown, there isn't really much to go on. The thing that I liked about Quake is that the guy who was like announcing it, he seemed really passionate about Quake. Like,
yeah,
I like seeing it. I like seeing developers who care about their game and like really have passion for the thing they're making. And he definitely displayed that for me. Like, I really appreciate that sort of thing. So I just thought I'd mention that. Then we got Elder Scrolls, the card game, which was trash. So let's not talk about it. Then we got Fallout 4 DLC.
Move on.
Does anyone actually have anything to say? Then we had Fallout Shelter DLC. Who cares?
Well,
then we had Skyrim. The PC had this ages ago. It might be a little bit better, but whatever. Then we had Prey, which actually looks interesting. So we can talk about that for a bit, can we? Can we?
Maybe. I don't know too much about it, but it looked nice.
Yeah, none of us know much about it.
I don't know anything about that Prey game that came out in 2006, but the way they presented it this time I thought was very unique and interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing more.
It bottom line has me intrigued, but I know the gameplay is not gonna play or look anything like the fake CGI gameplay that they had. I guarantee that right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna
what if it's on Scorpio, Josh? What if it's on Project Scorpio?
It is gonna look. Oh, no. It's gonna look more like Dishonored 2 than the actual trailer let on.
What if it's on Project Scorpio?
Oh god.
I'll make fun of Xbox One S and Project Scorpio later.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as everyone else on this. Prey, it's intriguing, but I need to see gameplay before I really judge it. So then Doom DLC, who cares? Elder Scrolls Online DLC, who cares?
The Screaming Woman cared.
VR. She really did.
If you didn't watch Bethesda's like live press conference and you didn't watch our minutes recap of it, I see the views. You need to go look up this video on YouTube. Maybe we'll put it in the description. It's like Bethesda's Screaming Woo Lady or whatever, and there's like a super cut of every time something is announced, she just starts screaming bloody murder out in the audience.
Thanks, everyone. We've been exploring this enormous world of Tamriel. Let's take a look.
One of the all-time cringiest moments
insane.
of E3 for sure, and it was so funny to watch live.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Then the VR, there's Fallout 4 is on VR now.
Yeah, it was really sort of just, all right, and apparently we've worked on VR, so here's some games that we're just going to plug into that engine, and it will be done. So that was rather easy of them.
Yeah, it like, whatever. It exists, VR. I feel like I'm going to be ragging on VR a lot today, because I just don't care about it. I know some people are excited for it, but to me it just seems like a waste of time.
Yeah, we could probably discuss that more later.
Yeah, let's do a whole podcast on that. Then we had Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 looks fun. I think it looks fine. It was weirdly paced at the conference, but I think as of right now, I'm probably going to buy Dishonored 2. The first one was great. The second one looks just as good. I'm fine with it.
This game did not make my top 25 of E3. I thought it didn't show very well at all. I thought the gameplay they showed at the conference was paced poorly, and then I went and I looked again later, and it's just like this demo was just kind of, I don't know, just it didn't feel like it was finished. And I know it's not because they still have like 5 months left, but I think this game needs a little more time to bake.
Yeah, that might be the case. Actually.
Yeah, it looks like a fun game. But I agree, they did not have a very good showing for it. The presentation was paced very poorly. The game itself, the animations look kind of old-fashioned and not very polished. Which it's not. Yeah. Not that will necessarily affect the gameplay too much. But it's still kind of affected its presentation and my view of it.
Yeah, I think I personally see it higher than it is just because I like stabbing dudes, and it promised a lot of dudes stabbing. So I'm on board with the stabbing, you know. So it looks really good to me, but just I can see why you might not think it showed that well. So Bethesda, I think I'm giving them a 6 out of 10 because they presented, even though they showed us literally nothing, they presented, apart from Dishonored 2, they presented everything pretty well. It was fast paced. They got to the point. It was a pretty decent conference, but not it didn't blow me away. So
Yeah.
I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
That's...
I'd say Dishonored 2 was the best game of that show, I think.
Yeah, I give it probably a 6.5 out of 10. Again, like EA, I rated it higher before, I think. Yet again, because we didn't have anything else to compare it to, and I've had to reevaluate all my rankings since then. But yeah, 6.5. It was okay. It had a lot of problems though. I don't know what my favorite game from that would be, because you didn't really have much.
Oh, it's definitely the card game. Oh,
Oh yeah,
definitely, definitely.
Elder Scrolls Legends has me real hyped.
The card game. Sorry for the editor for that.
It just came out of nowhere. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Was it really loud? I don't know if the
No,
mic.
it was...
Oh, okay.
You were so quiet for so long, and then just suddenly that.
I moved my mouth away from the microphone. I didn't expect it to clip that loud.
I yelled right into my mic. Like you were saying, I sort of interrupted that, but I liked Prey as much as we saw. We pretty much saw the equivalent of both of them, but I really liked the premise of Prey. It was sort of like a Half-Life meets Portal thing, because those head crabs. Those look like head crabs, admit it.
Well, when you were watching the
like
live
the
stream, everyone was like, "Oh, it's Half-Life 3. It's Half-Life." It's like, no, it's not. That's not the same company.
Yeah, but to be fair, wasn't everyone for a lot of the time just being like, "Oh, it's Crash Bash" during Sony?
That was really funny.
A lot of the stream chat.
That's for every game. Every game was Crash
not to be
Bash.
trusted.
I also give Bethesda a 6 out of 10. It's weird how you can put together like a good conference, but like not actually show much. EA should take a page out of Bethesda's book next time they don't have anything interesting to show, because Bethesda probably honestly had less, and they still had a better conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, because at the time it felt like a really good conference, and then afterwards I just sat there and thought, they didn't actually show us anything. There was nothing here. What? And I had to just reevaluate and rethink. And just like, wait a second.
They gone and tricked me.
I liked most of the DLC they showed. It was pretty nice for the little they showed. It was pretty decent. Just like we thought, they weren't showing like a major game like Elder Scrolls or anything. So they ended up being,
that was upsetting.
They ended up being mostly DLC like we thought.
That was one of my predictions that I got wrong. Oh, by the way, speaking of predictions, if we want to go back over some of that stuff, I want to go back to EA real quick. I said no NBA Live. Guess what didn't happen this year? No NBA Live, ladies and gentlemen.
GG.
Yeah.
I got nothing right for EA. Apart from I said Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them would be in a game, and Lego Dimensions has that now. So technically I'm right.
Get out of here.
Shut up. I got nothing right for Bethesda.
Let's do Microsoft.
But, you know.
Let's do Microsoft quickly.
Let's go
down the list.
Xbox One S. I bet you're really happy about that.
I already talked about how pissed off I am that they're releasing a new console like so soon, or so close to Project Scorpio. I think I'm more offended about that than anything else. Like, why are you releasing a remodel and then the next year releasing Project Scorpio? Like, do you not want this thing to sell at all? Do you want this to flop like out of the gate? Because the number one thing you can do to kill a release is saying, oh, by the way, after this release, there's going to be another thing like in less than 14 months that's coming out as well.
And really, was there any benefit to saying Project Scorpio? Because we didn't get any specs or anything. It's really
we got a hype video. We got a hype video with developers saying it has the best pixels we've ever seen. This doesn't mean anything.
You might not know what these pixels look like, but you will.
I think the best thing about like the new Xbox is that not only were they showing you a new Xbox that they wanted you to buy, but they were also saying, oh, and by the way, look at all these games that are not just on Xbox that you can play on PC. It's like, if you're going to try and sell me an Xbox, don't also sell me a PC, because I'm going to go for the PC, guys. It's not going to work for you.
It's basically, Microsoft is going the route of like, well, our console's basically a glorified gaming PC for playing games that you won't have to really upgrade your graphics card right now to, kind of thing.
It's just funny because, like, I said this at the beginning of the Microsoft conference. I said, Microsoft, give me a reason to justify the fact that I bought your console for $400. And they spent the whole time giving me reasons why I shouldn't have bought that console and why you shouldn't buy it in the future, the near future. So it's like, I just don't understand where they were coming from. But that was the conference. I thought the games they showed were all very good. I have a lot of highlights from Microsoft shows.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the games. Gears of War 4.
Oh,
looked,
yeah.
To me, okay.
Yeah, that one looked really good. I don't know anything about the series, but it looked really good.
I'm going to be really controversial with this group right now. I thought it looked really dull. I just think it looked like Gears of War, and I don't know. If this is my opinion, it's personal to me, but like Gears of War just doesn't look fun to me. I don't know if that's just me or.
Well, let me ask you: Have you ever played a Gears of War game? Have you ever played one?
Yes, I played the first one for about an hour, and then I went, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm gonna go play Assassin's Creed, and then I played Assassin's Creed.
Well, if you tried it and you didn't like it, you're justified because Gears 1, 2, and 3 are fairly similar, like gameplay wise. If you didn't like it, that's like totally fair. But for those of us who do like Gears, I think this game gives us a lot of reason to be excited. I think this game looks great.
Yeah.
One thing I
think
will
it looks
say,
fine for people who like it.
One thing I will say about it is that the character designs are kind of inconsistent with the rest of the series, which would be fine if they redesigned older characters to look more like proportionally accurate. But at the end of the gameplay thing, they showed what's his name, Marcus Phoenix.
Marcus Phoenix, yeah, he still looks like a big hunk of meat. Like
he looks absolutely ridiculous next to these more realistic, correct to proportion characters, and like
women who look absolutely normal, like they just look like regular women.
I want to see like big chunky women look like Mark Phoenix. Like I think that'd be great.
I want to see fat princess adventures running around in Gears of War is what I want.
Yes. The one thing I did really like about this, even though the most of it kind of looked really not that interesting to me, the one thing I did love was the gun that shot like discuses.
Oh yeah,
looked so cool. I don't know what it was about that gun, but it looked awesome. I just wanted to point that out because it was good. I was happy about that. So then, if everyone's done with, I think we're done with Gears of War, right? Yeah.
Just move on, even if we're not done, because like who cares?
Good. Killer Instinct has General Ram now. Who does anyone?
So what? I got nothing on Killer Instinct.
I think Chris liked that. Yeah. Just to put people's representation in that, but that's really all I know about it. Is all right, well, that looked good apparently to some.
It's like Killer Instinct was running too slowly, so they had to download some more RAM. Because the guy's called Ram. I stole that joke. I think Chris said it in the chat a couple of days ago.
Oh, no wonder it's so bad, because it's a Chris joke. Thank you.
So then you improved it. Thanks very much. Then we saw Forza Horizon. On my dock, I've got Horizon Zero Fun, because Horizon Zero Dawn is so on my mind.
Because I thought this game had a really nice showing. I thought it looked really nice.
Yeah.
I think Forza fans should be very excited about all the stuff this is bringing to the table. If you're not into car games, it is what it is. But I think as far as what they showed, I think it looked really nice.
Yeah, but Zero Fun was the best joke that I mean, it looks fun.
Well, it was better than the last one anyway, so that's good.
It even has the Koopa Beach. Come on.
I forgot about that. So then we saw some Recall, and Recall looks great. Like it looks really cool. Like the platforming stuff they showed in the trailer looks really fun. There's a lot of just it looks good, man. It looks good.
Someone compared it to like a Mega Man sort of thing.
Yeah, because
the Inafune thing.
Yeah,
that's
Keiji
why.
Inafune's working on it.
Oh yeah.
All right, I can see that because it's kind of got like the Mega Man X kind of dashes and all that sort of thing.
You got your weird little
You've got
dog.
a dash that can do anything. It's like Mighty Number 9. This game is gonna make people cry like anime fans are from.
I'm
so tired of that meme.
I never got a straight answer on this. Is this game also coming out for Windows 10 or is it only Xbox One?
Yes, it is. It's one of those like play anywhere. By the way, I heard through the grapevine this game is only going to be $40.
Wow.
Which why? It looks like a full like retail game. I mean, I don't know. How big is this game? They're only charging $40 for it?
Yeah, it might be short, I guess.
It might suck. Who knows? But I'm buying it.
It looked fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't own an Xbox One or a PC that can run it, so I'll buy it in about 20 years probably. So, I mean, it looks fine, but, I have no motivation to buy an Xbox One for it, because, lol, that's a waste of time. Final Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I am one of them people who is against Final Fantasy as a concept, but this looks fun.
It's because it looks like Shadow of the Colossus, so of course you'd like it.
But no, it looks enjoyable. It looks like it has a light-hearted sort of atmosphere. It looks like it's a goofy, weird game.
I told you would like this game. I told you.
I wasn't expecting it. It just came out of nowhere, and I was like, this looks like good. I'm okay with this.
Yeah,
like yeah.
It's the first Final Fantasy game that I've been like actually excited for. Like I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan. I've played a few of the games, haven't finished any of them. But the past few games in the series haven't really impressed me at all. Reviews haven't been good for them. But this one, like, it looks fun. It looks like they're really addressing the issues that the fans have brought up the past few years. It looks charming. I want to play it.
The thing that confuses me, and I hope one of you can explain this to me, since when is Final Fantasy modern times? I thought it was like fantasy RPG. Why are there cars? I don't get it.
It's been like a mixture of technology for quite a while now. I think since at least Final Fantasy VI, I think.
Yeah. That's around when I dropped off.
I'm thinking of... I think all of my Final Fantasy knowledge comes from like the old one. Like, I haven't even played them, but seeing stuff that's related to the old ones where it was like D&D type fantasy universe. So when I was watching that trailer, I'm just like, why are there cars?
What's this? What's going on? That's not Final Fantasy to me.
There's a bunch of Final Fantasy fans that are watching this video that are pissed at you right now. It's like, how could he not know?
Good, come fight me.
I mean, Dan, have you ever looked at Final Fantasy VII before? Like, that's...
No. I just know Cloud Strife is overpowered in Smash Brothers, and that's it.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on
him. So then we had a Division trailer, no one cares. We saw the Battlefield 1 trailer again, no one cares. Xbox Live has new features.
No one cares.
They brought Cortana, guys. Cortana, everyone hates it, but it's there.
You can listen to music now.
Yeah, like that's gonna be a thing.
I'm almost thinking about like readjusting my score for Microsoft's conference, because like we're going back through all this stuff and I'm just like, that wasn't impressive. They talked way too much. Like, Sony just showed games. Microsoft talked a lot.
Yeah, that's
Sony did great, but we'll get to that.
They showed a game called Inside.
No. What do you skip the best part of the conference? They showed a game called Minecraft that now has
a new IP.
Texture packs.
Oh yeah, there was a really cringy moment where like she gave him the diamond like just to get an achievement on stage at E3. Yeah. Like, okay.
I gave him that so I could get a Microsoft achievement on my iPad.
The commentary they had for this was maybe the worst of all E3.
Yes.
It was so bad.
Yeah. The other thing is they were showing things like, oh, we've got texture packs and resource packs, and it was like, this has been in PC for like 5 years. This, like, what I was watching kind of felt like watching like a Minecraft Let's Play from 2012. And I was just like, can we not do this, please? So anyway, now we can move on, because I wanted to rant about that because it really annoyed me. Then we saw Inside, which we saw nothing about, because like, what was that?
I don't care. Move on.
I honestly don't remember what it is.
It was made by the same people that made that one indie game a while ago. Limbo.
Oh,
so it might be good.
That game.
But we don't know anything about it. So
Limbo is okay.
Yeah, there's not much we can go on with this, but they have a good dev team behind it, so it might be good.
Yes.
That's all I go on.
That's all I have to say about that. Then we saw an indie sizzle reel. It was this really interested me, because the indie sizzle reel had Cuphead in it and it had Ukulele in it, and I was like, they spent no time on Cuphead.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring this point up later, Ubisoft spent about 20 minutes on some stuff that should have been in a sizzle reel, and Microsoft were like, here's a sizzle reel with Cuphead in it, and everyone was so hyped to see Cuphead, but they were like, nah, we got more important things to talk about.
Talked about Cuphead like a lot last year. There's plenty of gameplay footage. I'm totally fine with them not showing Cuphead, because there's like a bunch of stuff you can go look. They showed it at the GDC. They showed it at E3 last year. They showed it at the Game Awards. There's a lot of Cuphead to go around. Don't worry.
True. Yeah. I know, but it's something that people are so hyped about, and Microsoft are like, yeah, we'll put it in a sizzle reel. And I'm going to bring up this point up later, but like other companies were like, let's spend 20 minutes on stuff that should have been delegated to sizzle reel. That was kind of the point I was trying to make with Cuphead. It's just like, it baffles me that a game like Cuphead gets put in a sizzle reel, but Star Trek VR doesn't. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Then we saw one of the best games of E3 this year, We Happy Few. It just looks so good. Like, the whole atmosphere looks good. I was reading up on it. It's supposed to be like in, I think, the 60s after we lost World War II. It's set in England, in a small town in England. I might have got the date wrong on that, though.
1964 is what the calendar said, I believe. So yeah, it's and the game looks phenomenal. I think we all agree that everyone on this show, we were all on the Microsoft reaction, right? Except you, Dan.
I wasn't on it.
Yeah, nor was Josh.
Oh, you weren't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Josh were on the text chat on Discord, and we were just going I was going insane. Josh I think you were with me on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Then the moment they stopped showing We Happy Few and showed Gwen.
What a transition.
I knew they weren't going to show anymore. I knew it was just that trailer, but I was just sitting there no, go back, rewind, go back, please.
Now, I already shared my opinions of this game and the reaction, but it gave me a Brave New World feel about the whole dystopian thing.
Yeah.
So I really like that in plots and stuff. I don't know why. That's just a thing. This is a genre I really love. So I really look forward to this one.
I think I remember reading somewhere that the gameplay is kind of going to be, because the idea is that it's in a world where everyone takes this drug to be happy and basically not see how horrible the world is. And I think I remember reading somewhere that the gameplay is going to be you having to pretend that you're on the drug when you're not. So you're going to have to walk around and act natural when the world around you is just horrible.
Oh, man.
It's just so good. We could talk about this all day, but let's not. Gwent. Does anyone have anything to say about Gwent apart from that it's awful and I hate it?
Well, actually,
just get rid of it.
Because it's actually based on the card game in The Witcher. So it's actually developed.
At least
People
it makes
asked
sense,
for this.
right?
People wanted this.
Yeah.
So there's that. I asked Nick, because he likes Hearthstone, so I actually wanted his opinion on this, and he said it looks nice and really nice developed and all that.
I'm just hating on it because I hate card games, I'm going to be honest with you.
If you see my list, it's in caps stupid good card game!
Yeah, Nick was saying, he was comparing Gwent to Elder Scrolls Legends, and when he sees Elder Scrolls Legends, he sees an underdeveloped kind of a cash grab on the Elder Scrolls property. Sorry, Nick, if I paraphrase too much. And then when he looks at Gwent, he's read up on the rules. It looks mechanically interesting. It looks fun to play. It's something that he might actually want to play. But it is another card game at E3, which is a theme somehow this year.
It's a weird theme.
So then
Tekken 7.
Tekken is apparently so uninteresting now that they have to get Street Fighter characters in to make people care about it. That's what I gathered from this trailer. That, I don't know if people like Tekken or not, but
all I got from the Tekken presentation was there was a guy in a traditional Japanese robe and he was wearing sunglasses indoors. So in a dark room, by the way.
It made everyone uncomfortable because no one wanted to say it. It's a bit weird if you ask me, but no one wanted to be that guy. But I think the general consensus was that was a bit weird if you ask me.
Apparently he looked like Omni. Some people were saying that. I can't see it. I don't see it myself, but some people were saying that.
I started to see it after people mentioned it.
Yeah.
Dead Rising 4, you can shoot candy canes, so that's new.
Oh, Dead Rising 4?
Dead Rising 4
bringing back Frank
a
West.
Yes.
He covered Warzino.
A lot of people said they were super excited about this, but I thought the reaction to Dead Rising 3 was kind of muted for an Xbox One launch title. I didn't think people were super excited about it. But I guess people are really excited for Dead Rising 4.
It looked nice.
I don't know what the game is going to be like in the end, but the trailer was really well cut. That was a really well-made trailer, and I can appreciate well-made trailers, even if the thing is garbage.
Yeah.
Just such a good trailer. Everything was well cut. The Christmas theme is hilarious. The music was just so unfitting, but fitting at the same time that it's perfect.
The Christmas theme is kind of reminiscent of Die Hard, and that's fantastic. I love that. I love Die Hard. Make it more like Die Hard, please.
Good, yeah. And also, I found that there was a lot of zombie games this year at E3, even though I thought everyone was done with those.
There's always a lot of zombie games, Dan. Always. You just don't notice. I mean, look. Well, I don't want to list them all right now, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, let's Scalebound.
Yes.
I'm not going to say my opinions of this game yet because I feel like people aren't going to like them.
I will say mine, and people will like mine because I'm right. Scalebound looks incredible. I cannot wait to play this great-looking platinum game with it's super stylized. It's got ridiculous J-pop rock music playing while you're fighting these monsters. I love stuff like that. I love Xenoblade Chronicles. I am like so cut that. I am so in on this game.
It looked really nice.
Good.
Yeah, I'm excited for like another actual Platinum Games game, because recently they've been working on like really small scale, not so good stuff like the Legend of Korra video game,
Transformers, Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing wrong with TMNT.
Yeah, except it sucks. So
No.
yeah, so you like TMNT,
I get enough of this
and I
all
like
across the pond.
Scalebound. So which one of us? Oh, whatever.
Okay. Okay, it's not that I don't like Scalebound. First of all, the dialogue was really cringy to me. He kept saying, "Oh, come on, big guy," and like he said that about 5 times, and it really annoyed me. And
most of his character, where he's like, he like hit the ground or something, and like that wasn't so great, kind of thing. I don't know. It was almost organic to a lot of it. It was sort of
a different impression, but I think it's just me.
It slightly made fun of itself a bit, kind of thing. It wasn't trying to be so like cool, and it wasn't trying to be a fake.
And Platinum is very they make their characters very self-aware. Like if you play Bayonetta, I mean, it's all like that stylized like kind of dialogue is all over that game, and it's fantastic.
Or Metal Gear Rising, or just Wonderful 101 kind of had that a little bit too.
Fair enough. I don't know, it's just something about Scalebound. I think there was too much going on screen, and it looked like it's going to play. Like, I don't think it looks fun to play, in my opinion. I'm not a fan. I can't get hyped about it. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Sea of Thieves, though. Sea of Thieves. You know how we were talking about awkward Let's Players? Sea of Thieves.
Oh my god, that YouTuber
awkward.
Segment was like, I hated it. I hated every moment of it. Because I don't like the whole YouTuber scene. I know we're on YouTube, but like, I just don't like these, the kids are so into the personalities, and I don't know.
Yeah, Let's Players suck. Who do they think they are?
God, stealing other people's content. They should get sued, every single one of them.
Go watch Rush the
Cut
Fort.
off their...
I didn't even think about you guys as actual Let's Players, because I listened to your guys' show. I watched your show, and I was like, oh, it's Josh and Todd. Like, I know those guys. They're my friends. I guess we can't be friends anymore.
Oh man, but the gameplay-wise, Sea of Thieves, it looks good. I think it could be a very enjoyable game. Like, I think it looks fun.
It reminded me of, there's a big airship game that you play where you sort of man this.
Oh, Guns of Icarus.
Yes, Guns of Icarus. I kept thinking it was Kid Icarus. Icarus. But it reminded me of that. It looked fun.
Yeah, it looks enjoyable.
Can I say this then, since you've forgotten? I hate it when games are like dependent on other people to have a good time. I don't like online games that basically require teamwork to do anything. I mean, like, Overwatch is one thing because it's like a shooter. Splatoon is a shooter. You can kind of be successful by yourself. But these games that it's like you're going to go online with like a group of, I don't even know how many people are required to play this game. How many people do you need to drive a big frickin' pirate ship? But
the less people, the more fun, probably.
I don't want to have to buy this game with like 5 of my friends and like rely on them, and like hopefully you guys are going to do your jobs right, or else this ship is going to sink and like the game's going to be over. Like, it's probably more than that, but that's the impression that I got. So I went from curious to just, I shut down during this trailer. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's fair, but I mean, because I don't have the same opinion as you on multiplayer stuff, but I think it'd be fun to, I'm not going to buy it on Xbox because then I have to pay for Xbox Live in order to play it, which is a huge waste. But if it's on PC, I wouldn't mind picking it up and getting a voice chat with a group of you guys and just hanging out doing some pirate stuff. I think that'd be fun. I think that could be a good time.
It'd be fun to do on our show.
Seems
for
like
sure. On Rush the 40.
It seems like a game that's good to goof off on.
If I was looking at this game like with fresh eyes and not knowing that Rare is developing it, I think it would look like an okay game, but the fact that I know that Rare is making it just makes me all the more skeptical of it, because I don't trust that studio anymore. I don't trust them anymore.
They have betrayed you too many times.
We've come a long way with Rare since like they made all those great Nintendo 64 platformers and those games. Even though Piddle hates them, I really like them. We've come a long way, and Rare is just not the same company anymore, unfortunately.
No, it's sad.
Maybe they can redeem themselves with this, because it looks alright, I think. So then we saw another zombie game, State of Decay 2. Does anyone care?
Pass.
No one cares.
Pass, I guess.
Halo Wars 2,
Pass.
Does anyone care?
Oh man.
I can't believe they closed their show with that as like the final game. Like, I understand that people are excited. Like, well, are people? I don't even know. But
I don't know either.
But you could have closed with like Gears. You could have closed with Forza. You could have closed with Scalebound. I think people would have just been just as happy. And Halo Wars just didn't show well. I wasn't interested. There's a beta that you can go play like right now, and nobody downloaded it as far as I know.
Yeah. Who cares, right? Like Project Scorpio though.
We
I
thought
already talked about that.
That was so confusing, the way they even said it. I'm like, okay, but why? The project name was bad because it's Xbox One S, so then people are like, oh, so they're already calling Project Scorpio Xbox Scorpio, so it just made it even more confusing. Why'd they choose the same letter?
It's like the Wii U situation, or the 3DS situation.
Also, I would like to go on the record and say that the thing that Phil Spencer said about how no one is going to be left behind, I believe that is one of the biggest lies that has ever been told on an E3 stage. And I would like to be held accountable for that, whether or not I am right or wrong. So when Scorpio comes out and like it has an exclusive title, you guys have to give me credit. I think that is a complete fat lie. There are going to be people left behind. There are going to be people who are upset, and there are going to be people who just can't upgrade for whatever reason that are going to be left in the dust when Scorpio comes out next year.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the dev time on coming out with a game for Project Scorpio and then Xbox One S, and then you have to also make it backwards compatible with the regular Xbox One. Like, it's too much dev time, and it's not gonna work as well as they're saying.
How can a system be like 10 times as powerful with 6,000 teraflops, whatever that is, and just like I don't even know what a flop. I said flops are like the new bits. I don't even know what they are.
Didn't you know it's a bunch of gigaflops?
How can it be that much more powerful and take advantage of the graphical scaling up and then scale down when you somehow play a game on the Xbox One, which, as we all know, is not very powerful by today's standards? I just don't understand how that's even supposed to work. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm not a developer, so...
I imagine it would work similarly to how it does on PC. Like, it'll just run a little worse. You could still play the game. They'd have to optimize it well for the original Xbox One.
Gonna be difficult.
I would just argue that's not true backwards compatibility. That's just like... I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
it's like forwards compatibility almost, and that's gonna be weird.
The Xbox and maybe the PlayStation as well. We'll have to wait and see what the PlayStation Neo is. But both of them seem to be moving in the direction of being more and more like PCs, whereas Nintendo is trying to move away from all of that and isolate itself as the console market.
Well, while we're on the topic of these consoles and stuff, I just wanted to say that I think Sony were really smart not to show the Neo.
Yes, because in hindsight, they definitely were.
Yeah, because people are going to actually... Because I forgot that the Neo was a thing, and I actually considered buying a PS4 after seeing their conference, and then I was like, wait a second, no, you're not tricking me with this. Whereas, like, no one's gonna fall for that. No one's gonna buy an Xbox One now, because why would they? So, I don't know, it just feels like a mistake. They should have not shown it and then brought it out later. But if I force you to give it a score, how would you score Microsoft?
Microsoft?
I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I will.
Because I think they showed some really good stuff.
8 out of 10 was what I put. It's a very rough 8, though. It's like almost, it could be almost like a 7.9. You know, it's just
7.9.
Yeah, it's a very rough 8 kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I forced myself not to use decimals, but if I did use decimals, I think it would probably go down to a 7.5, but it just tips over to an 8 for me. Just because it's either 7 or 8, so it has to be 8, because, like, some of those games looked great. Like, I'm happy with what they showed, and I'm happy with how they presented it for the most part, apart from a few hiccups. So I think they were pretty solid.
I'm giving it a solid 8 as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, a solid 8.
I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I'm
giving them a liquid 8.
I feel like I'll give it a gaseous 7 because
we did this joke last year, guys. We did it last year.
We did?
Abort!
Okay.
Oh no!
I don't even remember.
Can I say my thing really quick? Just stop making bad jokes and let me. I think there was too much talking, and there were too many. Like, I liked the show when I first watched it, so it was obviously a well-paced show. But just looking back at it, I'm just like, well, what would there was just so many moments that just made me go, ugh. Like the Windows 10 exclusive thing, like that didn't sit well with me, and I didn't like the new systems announcements, and I didn't like, Sea of Thieves, and the Gwent and the Tekken 7 thing was like awkward, and it didn't show well, and it was, there was just a lot of down moments for a conference that had a lot of good moments. So I'm moving it to a 7.
Predictions wise though, me and Spiegel, I think we both predicted that Recall would have gameplay this year and that we'd have Sea of Thieves details, so we were pretty on point with that.
I gotta check my predictions right now.
I predicted that they would Microsoft be using beloved characters to try and push weird VR concepts or something. And to be fair, I would argue that Minecraft is enough of like a beloved, like for some people, Minecraft's quite a beloved sort of well-loved franchise. So I would argue that trying to push all of their like Windows 10 and like tablet and like VR stuff for that, I think that kind of counts.
I think it's safe to say that you got that prediction right. I think you nailed it.
Yeah,
I think that's totally fair.
I was expecting rare characters, but I think Minecraft still kind of counts, if you know what I mean. Like they were still trying to tack something that people like we know people like this, so let's try and tack this on and make them think it's something they like, sort of thing. Like that was kind of what I was going for with the prediction, and I think I'd accept a half point if people don't think that quite counts, but I think I'm there at least sort of. I don't know what either of Josh or Todd predicted. Did you get anything right on this? I'm not sure if you did.
I hardly made any real predictions, and I don't think I got hardly
any
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I predicted that there would be a Halo Wars 2 gameplay demo, but I don't know what it is, but all the gameplay demos I predicted, they didn't happen.
I said no HoloLens.
Oh, yeah, because you predicted Mass Effect too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no HoloLens.
No HoloLens, thank goodness.
I can't believe there was no new Viva Pinata.
I also said, I put my life on the line. I said there's going to be a Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer, and it not only did it not show at Microsoft, it didn't show at all. So it still doesn't exist, unfortunately. So that was a big...
Technically, though, there was a pinata in We Happy Few, so does that count?
Oh, stop.
Maybe that's them just saying that series is dead.
It wasn't a real pinata.
So we spent 2 hours covering Ubisoft. Can we spend about 2 minutes covering them right now? Because we need to move along, and I really don't have much to say about all these crappy games.
Hey, they looked alright. Like, Just Dance, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Tom Clancy Ghost Recon looks fine. Todd, I think you liked it.
Yeah.
It looks alright. It looks like
I'm very skeptical of that.
Well, Tom Clancy makes good games. It's just not towards our demographic.
It's not all the same developers that make all the Tom Clancy games.
Right, but it's still the same series, and they've been
Tom
consistent.
himself. He sits in his bedroom and he codes them all himself. I refuse to give up that headcanon.
Except he's dead. We talk about this every year.
One of the best, cringiest moments of E3 came from me when I didn't know that Tom Clancy was dead.
No, I'm pretty sure you thought that as well last year, and I was like, no, he's dead, and you were like, oh, and then you thought he was alive again this year.
I'm gonna keep forgetting every year just for the laughs. No, but I guess I forgot.
I think it might have been me last year.
Maybe
I keep forgetting too. So then we saw South Park: The Fractured Butthole, which looks fine, but I think they showed too much of it because it relies on the jokes, and now that I've seen the jokes, I don't really want to buy the game that bad.
If I could go on what Chase was saying, they showed that one as quote unquote as much as the other ones, but I still think for the type of game it was, they showed too much of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't mind it because I was having a good time watching South Park, and that was more entertaining than most of the other presentations they had.
At that point, we're just watching South Park.
Yeah,
of all of the ones, see too much, but.
I think my problem with the South Park is that we were trying to do a reaction to it, and there's not much you can riff off of on South Park because you just want to watch the South Park. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
now you're just watching an episode.
It was annoying to do a reaction to.
If I could make a critique about your guys' reaction, you guys ended up like trying really hard to react to it to the point where you were talking over a lot of the interesting things being said in the conference. So I feel like you guys had a more negative viewpoint of the conference as a whole because of that.
Thank you, Josh, for the real constructive criticism instead of just writing terrible reactions. Like you actually had something to say. I appreciate that. And to the guy that wrote that on our Microsoft thing, like you're a freaking an idiot. Like I don't even care what the repercussions are. You're just stupid, and I don't even care.
He's gonna make it this far into this podcast. Let's be honest with ourselves. So then we saw
he's gonna make a reaction video to this.
Who cares? No, stop it. I'm trying to move us on. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
I want to talk about the guy.
No.
Eagle Chase.
It's called Eagle
Who cares
Flight.
about Eagle Chase?
Eagle Flight.
It's Eagle Flight. It made me feel sick. That's all I have to say. I felt sick watching it.
They showed footage of the people playing it, and they're just like moving their heads around so much, kind of thing.
I found it funny.
Yeah,
I found it funny how afterwards Aisha Tyler was talking about how she played the game earlier, and she's like, "It wasn't very good, but it was awesome."
Yeah, that was a pretty cringy moment too. Speaking of cringy, how about this next one? They kept going with the VR thing, and they brought out LeVar Burton for Star Trek Bridge Crew.
First,
yeah,
I want to just start it up with the whole reason why they brought him on is because they're starting up some new Star Trek thing. Either it's a movie or a show, but there's going to be no, actually. So that's why they brought this up even.
Oh, okay. We did not notice that because we were talking over it. So
I researched it later. It's like, oh, that's why.
Well, I don't know if that's the reason they're doing that.
Well, that's why they brought the guy onto it. That's what I'm saying.
LeVar Burton's not going to be on it.
That was a huge misstep. It was stupid. It was a waste of time.
The point I want to make is that I think this should have been a sizzle reel. This, Eagle Chase, maybe Grow Up and Trials of the Blood Dragon. I think they should have just been quickly shown, like, as a quick sizzle reel sort of thing. Like, just quickly show those trailers and be done with it. Like, I don't know why they...
you guys...
Because Star Trek VR isn't...
The graphics were not good. You can't give it that.
They weren't great. But you guys also talked over a lot of what they were saying, especially the LeVar Burton interview, which he kind of sold me on the game concepts in his interview with Aisha Tyler. Because he was talking about how he felt like he was back on set again. He felt like he was actually in the Enterprise. And, like, it was
so
like...
what? Does that mean the game's going to be good? It didn't look good. I'm not convinced at all.
I liked the concept. I liked the concept and, like, the rough concept art we saw. But... it didn't look good, and that's what the VR
Burton
game
seemed
really
legitimately like excited about playing it.
Yeah, you know when else LeVar Burton always seems excited? When he's on Reading Rainbow, reading like stories to kids.
Children's books.
And
I think he's excited
great.
reading that was the best book I've ever read.
I
was live tweeting
He's
on the
an
ZBN on the ZBN Twitter during this conference, and I was like, where's our Reading Rainbow VR game?
Yeah. Look, it could be a good game, it had a good premise, but VR really has to buy on graphics. That's the whole point of virtual reality, is to make it look as close as a reality can be. Not as be, but didn't look good for a VR game.
Like, it wasn't immersive, right? It didn't feel immersive because it looked that bad. Like, it doesn't have to look great, but it didn't look immersive at all.
I don't know if photorealism has
it's not
that much
so
an effect.
It's mostly just because also we don't get the VR from seeing it on the show, so like we don't get half of what we saw, kind of thing. So it very well could be good. It's hard to transition a VR game to 2D and say, hey, look how good this looks, because half of it is the depth.
Well, in those situations, you have to like put yourself in their shoes and imagine what it would be like if you were wearing the VR set. And like when you do that, it feels really exciting.
Dan wants to move on so bad right now.
Yeah,
I can just tell.
I'm sorry. I need to speak my mind about VR. I'm sorry.
Spent too long on this.
Well,
so
like
have
VR.
we now. So have we. We've spent too long on this. I just wanted to say one final point on this, and then we're moving on.
I thought you... what the hell?
Just one final point. You know how you were saying with Sea of Thieves that it puts you off that you're going to have to find a group of people to play this with? I think that's going to be the same case with Star Trek, and I don't think I'm going to be able to find several people who want to be a Star Trek crew who have VR. Like,
maybe this...
I don't think as a concept it's solid.
It'll be hard enough to find people that have the VR. Yeah. You're right. I mean, let alone this game, which doesn't even look good.
But For Honor,
Todd's
looks good.
He was just as great as last year, right? I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
He's the best. And just that game looks fun. It looks. I like the ideas behind it. I like the ninjas, Vikings, knights thing. I wish they showed more of the knights.
They're samurai, not ninjas.
Racist.
It looks like Dynasty Warriors, right? Like everyone's been comparing it to Dynasty Warriors, and I think that's appropriate. And Dynasty Warriors is very fun in small doses, and I think For Honor is largely going to be the same type of thing. I'm confident that it will be at the very least a decent game. From everything we've seen. I mean, I know it's Ubisoft, and it very well could suck, but like I think it will be decent.
I don't know who, but someone was comparing it. Last year we saw a game around the Roman Empire, and it's the same thing about how everyone was getting knocked down, and then you had to climb up a wall, and then you were the one guy behind, and then open the gates for everyone.
Todd, that was For Honor.
But that was a Roman guy.
Rise?
No, Rise was like several years ago. What are you talking
Rise
about?
was a while ago.
Okay.
Okay, but it still had the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like Rise and Dynasty Warriors, basically.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't know anything about Rise, but I'm cool with For Honor. I think it looks great. Then we saw Grow Up, which I think looks fun, but I don't think anyone knows or cares
I
about
don't
it
have
that
anything to
much.
say on that one.
It looks fun.
It looks like a good
It
game.
looks fun, but yeah.
Like, I've got the original on Steam. I'll probably play it at some point, but until then, I know nothing about this franchise. Trials of the Blood Dragon, though. I've seen some gameplay of Trials of the Blood Dragon, and it looks hilarious. Like, the whole thing looks fun. The cutscenes look funny. It just looks like it's balls to the wall, ridiculous.
The presentation...
I love it.
The presentation of this was really bizarre, because it started out really cringy,
Yes.
like, I don't know what this is, this looks horrible, and then they revealed who they were. They were the Blood Dragon and the Trials guy. I'm like, wait, okay, this might be cool. And then they showed the trailer, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was
really strange.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yeah. It looks good, though. I might actually pick it up if it's on PC. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I might. Who cares? Who knows? Assassin's Creed movie. I know Spigel is really happy about this showing up.
That's not a game. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I
though.
hate that they put that in their conference when it was already like way too long. You need a segment on the Assassin's Creed movie at a conference that is supposed to be about video games. It's like
Yeah, but it looks good.
it's like
I'm
if
cool with it.
Microsoft
I'm
it's
fine
like
with
if
it.
Microsoft came out there and like here's like our new operating system, and now we're going to show you what Windows Explorer looks like.
It's like if Sony were like, here's Spider-Man for the PS4, and here's this trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh wait, that would be amazing, and I would love
And
that.
here's our new brand
love
of,
that.
and here's our new
Give me a
TVs.
trailer.
Our new TVs exclusive to Walmart on Black Friday this year. Go check out the Sony 48-inch HD TV. And now we're going to spend 5 minutes talking about the TV, and we're going to put like the actors in the commercials into the conference. I don't want to see that ever again.
I made an impromptu prediction about Michael Fassbender showing up, and it seemed like Aisha was like hyping it up to be Michael Fassbender walking on stage, but it was just the director.
Yeah.
Although the way she was talking about
that
Michael
was
Fassbender, I
disappointing.
think I saw a puddle start to appear underneath her
Yeah.
the entire time when she was talking about him.
Well, she did
To be
pee
fair,
a little
Michael
bit.
Fassbender is a babe.
She did pee a little bit when they showed. Oh shoot! What game was it that she peed during? I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
don't
she
know
said
what
she
you're
peed
talking
herself a
about,
little. That's right.
It's a weird
Was
topic.
it Watch
I guess.
Dogs 2? Because I thought Watch Dogs 2, and this is going to be controversial, question mark, but I thought it had a really good showing. I thought it looked really
I liked-
impressive.
Yep.
Well-
I think it looks fine. I needed to pee throughout the whole thing. Like, it looks fine.
I say that Watch Dogs 1 had a good showing as well.
I mean, so it might be that traditional Ubisoft, we're going to show a game and it'll look good, but it won't actually be good, but I don't think this game will have the immense hype that Watch Dogs did just because of the fact that Watch Dogs happened and it didn't live up to the hype. So I think Watch Dogs 2 has at least that going for it. It's not going to have to live up to these immense expectations.
I have some reservations about the style they're going for with the characters and the story. It looks like they're trying too hard to be hip and cool by being these hipster hackers, elite hacksaws, memesters. It's just
I think I'm with you on that.
I don't like it.
there.
It's
Like-
cringy. It's very cringy.
Omni's not gonna like us saying there's so much cringe.
Cringy.
cringe. But yeah, it looked fine, but with the history of it, I don't know. I'm gonna wait for some reviews and some gameplay to come out.
It looks fine though. Maybe they're actually trying this time. Maybe they're going to try hard to make it way better than the first one, just to get back on good faith. But maybe
That's what they're saying.
And that was the end of the conference, right?
Nope.
No,
There was one
No,
more.
it went on for another 20 agonizing minutes as they showed us a new snowboarding game, which...
Game of the show, Steep.
should have. Steep looks fine. Should have been in a sizzle reel.
Yeah,
All of
in the
this-
sizzle
half
reel
of
for
this
sure.
should have been
I
in a
can-
sizzle reel.
I can agree on the sizzle reel part.
Just show me a trailer. Don't show me 20 minutes of this. Like if you watched the reaction, you would have seen that because I was running on like 7 hours sleep or something, and that's
Oh,
not very
no.
much for me.
Oh,
my
not
binoculars
7
down,
hours.
and I
Oh, you
couldn't-
poor thing.
Look, that's hard for me. I was really
I
tired.
woke up at 2 in the morning.
So,
I am sick. I don't want to hear about your sleep apnea. I'm not interested in that.
I
was dead during Steep. I was not happy about that.
I was
So go ahead.
skeptical. Sorry. I was skeptical of them ending on this game with such a long presentation, but like the more it went along, and I wasn't as tired of the length of the show as you guys were. I remember watching your guys' reaction, and like you guys were all irritated in one way or another, and you had good reason for being irritated. But like after a while, I kind of kind of warmed up to the idea of this being the thing to just leave the show off. And like I thought it was a good presentation.
So did I. Like I was so tired, but I was kind of just like, I mean, this looks fine. This looks alright.
Yeah.
I'm cool with this.
I mean, it was completely
it looks like
one-upped by Breath of the Wild, but I mean, that's for later.
Well,
yeah, we'll deal with that later. Let's be honest.
So I gave Ubisoft's conference a 6 out of 10. Or no, I give it a 5 out of 10 actually, because I gave EA a 4. So I had to revise all those scores. I just looked at my document and I like, oh, these scores that I've been saying all day have been wrong. But I gave Ubisoft a 5. I thought it was way too long. I thought the high moments were not that high. Like For Honor, South Park. For Honor looked really good. South Park looked really good. Too much of just about everything. Length really hurt the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10 because they showed a lot of gameplay, and I really appreciate that, but I think the pacing in the presentation was off, so I think if it had been paced properly and they shown all these games in a better way, this could be a 7 or maybe an 8, but I think it's a 6 just because the presentation just bombed it, for me at least.
For some reason, I had it listed as a 6.5 out of 10 on my list, just to sort of differentiate it from Bethesda. Just a little bit of a... just a slight... It was almost better because they actually showed substantial stuff, although Bethesda did pretty good about showing... they did good about showing nothing. But, yeah, I gave them a 6.5. They had, on my list, I said they have 5.5 good games, where Watch Dogs 2 was listed as a half point.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Bethesda because I think Bethesda and Ubisoft are like the flip sides of the same coin. Like Bethesda presented incredibly well but showed nothing.
Yeah, and this
Ubisoft showed
bad, but
so
they had
much
a lot.
Presented badly. Like I think they're kind of like almost the flips. So I put them on the 6s for exactly the different reasons.
Almost not a direct correlation, but a pretty close one where like EA had like a few, so they had like 5. Bethesda had a decent amount, but they had 6. Microsoft had a lot, and so they got an 8. And this Ubisoft basically had about the same amount as Bethesda, just about. But yeah,
I gave
Josh.
I'm giving Ubisoft a 7 out of 10, which may seem like a high score. But I wasn't nearly as exhausted and tired of this conference as you guys were.
Yeah. You also because you didn't have to talk with a microphone in your hand for like 2 hours.
That's why I was near the end of it. I was trying to be like, all right, guys, but to be fair, we had to sit through this.
Yeah, and
so that's why I give it a half point.
I'm also more optimistic of the VR stuff they showed. I know you guys have a problem with VR. I'm really excited for like VR, even though I'm not gonna get a VR set for probably years.
I'm
still
you and I are
optimistic
like
about
one
it.
of the 2 people that are just really optimistic about that whole series.
Sorry, you 2 are one of the 2 people that are optimistic about it?
Wait, so Josh and Todd are now one person? I mean, we've been calling them Jod for ages, but we have never actually... This is canon now.
All right, so Sony kicked it off with an orchestra, which I thought was impressive, but the orchestra was playing for too long before they showed a game.
Had too long.
And then they had that chick doing like the weird vocals, and the camera was on her, and it was like she doesn't want to be on camera right now. It was It was a bit weird.
Looking back, I thought it was kind of badass that they like decided to they made that decision like they're going to play for a little while, and like it's going to be epic. And God of War, the reveal of that. And like everything they showed in that little gameplay demo, I thought was incredibly impressive. And you know, if the orchestra played too long, then they played too long. But you know what? The gravitas of that moment, showing God of War live in front of people for the very first time, you're showing gameplay. That's really impressive, and it's a really ballsy move.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, let it be said that Sony, for their 2016 E3 conference, had a live pit band orchestra with an overture leading into their conference. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
This one was the classiest one. This was one of the classiest conferences.
Yeah,
almost as classy as Ubisoft let out with. That was so terrible. I peed a little bit.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So yeah, God of War looks good. Like God of War looks fine. what is he? Is he in Norse mythology
Yeah.
now? So he's going to be fighting Thor?
Probably.
Which is kind of cool, I guess. That's exciting.
There's some reason articles were like, it was almost about Egyptian. But yeah, because they're just throwing out ideas. What
That would be
mythology shall
so
we
cool,
fight this
though.
time around, guys? So yeah, it's just
That would be rad, though. Like, I'd like to
Eventually.
see Egyptian done. But,
Yeah.
it looks fine. Anyone have anything really that much to say about God of War apart from that it looks good?
it looked nice. He's another bearded guy.
It felt like The Last of Us at some points.
Yes.
It was weird.
One other thing I wanted to cover about this was that I like that they didn't give it a number. I like that it's, as of now, not God of
Yeah.
War 4, because I think God of War 3 was kind of mediocre, and I'm
Yeah.
happy that they're going in the direction of, like, we're just, like, almost like a reboot. I don't think you can call it that, but almost one.
Yeah, just like we're in a different mythology, so it's a new... We're kind of going back on the numbering. It works.
I don't know if I like this habit of naming not necessarily reboots, but like just these a soft reboot of a series, like after
kind of like Tomb Raider
after the first
even though
game.
it's a prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that because it's confusing marketing wise when people discuss the games. It's confusing, like people don't call Sonic 06 Sonic the Hedgehog, they call it Sonic 06.
Right.
Yeah, but that's because that game is notorious. Like, nobody, when you're talking about Tomb Raider on 360, like, you don't really have to differentiate it because people know what game you're talking about.
No, to be fair, I will call it Tomb Raider the reboot.
Yeah.
It really irritates me. I wish it had a subtitle. Like, it would be useful.
I mean, what, would you rather they just numbered into infinity? I mean, because that's what they would do.
Or no, they could just come up with clever subtitles like Zelda.
Yeah, but subtitles are just as
Now-
confusing when you're talking about, like, what order the games came in.
Well, it's still easier to discuss them.
Moving
Like,
on.
I wish they had numbered the Phoenix
Press.
Wright trilogy. I wish they had numbered Professor Layton. Like, I don't like all these subtitles. I mean,
We gotta move on though.
No, we don't.
gotta
No, we're
move
going
on.
to talk about subtitles.
Well, you gave us the limit. We gotta go.
Days
Gone looks great.
I think Days Gone hooked me because like I really like the idea of being a merc, like a bounty hunter mercenary in a zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
I don't know, something about that really hooked me like as a setting, and I definitely want to see more of that. I hope that because they showed the gameplay at the end and it looked kind of just like zombie gameplay. It looked cool, but I'm really hoping that there's more where there isn't really any zombies around, and it's kind of like actually being a mercenary as well as the zombies instead of being primarily zombie focused. Like that's my hope for this game, but they might just be a zombie game, and that's my worry.
See, Days Gone hasn't yet convinced me in which ways it's going to be different than The Last of Us, because everything they've been showing has been very Last of Us. This seems to be a theme at Sony for some reason so far.
Are you saying you don't want another game that's like The Last of Us? Because that's just kind of stupid, in my opinion.
Well, no, The Last of Us was fantastic, and I'm glad that games are taking inspiration from it, but like when I'm looking at Days Gone, I'm like, okay, I've kind of played this before, and I would kind of rather just replay The Last of Us or play Last of Us 2 from Naughty Dog. Although I know
On
that
the record,
Days Gone,
Josh would rather play a replay than play a new game.
well, Days Gone,
It's like it's not really setting its own name kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's just basing off something else that they know it works.
they've
So-
said that it's going to be open world, so maybe if they show more of that, I'd be more excited about it, because that's definitely, that would force the game to be different than Last of Us in a lot of ways, but we didn't really see any of that.
Yeah. I'm on board with it though. Like I really like the setting and I like the character and story in it as far as I know right now. So it's on my radar definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we saw The Last Guardian, which I'm going to be honest with you, that trailer did nothing for me.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
I
excited
agree,
about The
and
Last Guardian, but
I'm excited.
there was nothing new there.
I'm excited for that game, and that trailer did nothing for me. But I will say this.
Yeah.
Guess who got their prediction right about The Last of Us coming out this year and us getting a release date for it?
The Last of Us, what?
The Last of Us. Oh.
What did I say? I don't know. Dude. I'm saying, leave me alone. The
Last
Last
Guardian.
Guardian.
I've been saying
The Last Guardian of Us was.
yes.
we did get a release date for The Last Guardian of Us, and it's gonna be good. I don't know why they didn't put more emphasis on it. To be honest, like Sony had kind of a short press conference, and I feel like it's obvious that like No Man's Sky was cut, but you could have extended the Last Guardian stuff.
There's just a couple things, but I feel like a person that's out of the loop when it comes to Last Guardian. Was there anything that came out before this to is this just a new game that everyone's hyped for?
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I never played those, but yeah. So yeah, I feel like I'm really
Shadow
out of the
Colossus,
loop, but excited for everyone.
They're two of the most critically acclaimed games on PS2, so it's no wonder that people are like excited because we've been waiting now 10 years for this game. I mean, literally. So
yeah,
it looks good. It looks fun. Then personally, my game of Sony for this year, Horizon Zero Dawn, looks really good. I'm still totally on board with this game. It just everything about it keeps making me want to jump into that world and kill some robot dinosaurs.
Kill some robots.
It looks good. It looks so good.
They showed a lot of gameplay, and it looks a little like Monster Hunter plus Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I am definitely into. I cannot wait for this game. I think it's one of my best games of E3. It looks fantastic. Super excited.
Looks excellent.
Looks great.
I really like the idea of like you see instead of taming a wild creature to use it as a mount, you hack it. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I like everything about this game. Just makes me really interested, and I want to see how everything slots in. I want to see what happened to this world as well, because it's like there used to be humans here, but maybe robots took over, but then robots became animals for some reason. I want to know how that happened. I need to know how that happened because I don't.
Watching all the gameplay, it's really exciting and looks fantastic and fun. My only criticism of like what they've been showing in the game so far, the story seems kind of generic. The voice acting seems over dramatic, and it hasn't really hooked me at all story wise. I feel like I would just get lost running around the world playing the game, and I wouldn't be that invested in the story because they haven't really sold me on that yet.
It definitely feels like a game that could be a disappointment depending on how much they downgrade it from the E3 showing.
Yeah.
Because the organic commentary that the character was giving, I don't think it's going to be as smooth as it was during the conference.
Yeah, they did the same thing last year, and it was worse last year too.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a caution. I really, just a dream would hope that the character would be as organic with their talking in a fashion. In a way, I just want to sort of play it as myself. But if the character talked appropriately at times, it would be really interesting if they could pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be totally cool. Just to, in reference to what you were saying earlier about the story maybe not being so good, I'm someone who is happy to play a game and just not pay attention to any of the story and just like breeze through, because like the way I play Assassin's Creed, and I love Assassin's Creed, like I played Assassin's Creed 2, I don't remember anything about that story. I didn't read or listen to any of that dialogue. I don't even know if it was voice acted or text dialogue. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it was probably voice acted now that I think about it though. But like, I can happily just ignore all dialogue in every video game and just play the game. And Horizon Zero Dawn looks like one of those games where I'm going to do that.
Is that why you're such a big fan of Bubsy 3D? Because you can ignore the dialogue?
Oh, no. Obviously, Bubsy 3D is the game
I don't think you could like
the story the most. Yeah, the story and the dialogue's the best part of Bubsy 3D.
While we're talking about story, I want to go on the record and apologize for my initial reaction to Detroit Become Human, because it was very negative. I said, and I quote, and I paraphrase, this game looks like the kind of game that is just going to be kind of bad. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's made by Quantic Dream, the same people who made like Heavy Rain and those games, so it could be very well be good.
It could also very well be terrible, because
but it's got that butterfly effect thing. I love the butterfly effect thing. I'm getting Zero Time Dilemma in like a week, and I'm super excited about that. So I will definitely keep this game on my radar. I will look for news, and I'm sorry for what I said about how the game looked kind of bad.
When I watched that reaction, I was like, wait, why is he so? I thought this looked cool. I don't get this. Why are you so? Do you know something I don't? Have you seen gameplay for this that I haven't? I don't.
I think
it
was just a reaction to the fact that we were 5 games into the show and they still hadn't showed anything that I wasn't interested in. Like, I was amazed that we could have gone that long. And me not be like, oh, that looks mediocre.
Yeah.
If this is as good as Heavy Rain, then it'll be a success, I think, because I really like that game. And from what I hear, it's the only great game that studio has made. Until maybe this one. I don't know.
Yay. So then we saw Resident Evil 7. Is that actually going to be a full game, or is that just VR?
Oh, it's going to be
just VR.
It's going to be a full game.
No, full game. Full game.
Full.
Okay, cool. Because the way they presented it made it seem like it was just a VR game.
Like a
and I was
PT
like,
thing.
No.
Yeah, like...
It's
okay, cool. That's good.
It's going to be totally designed to be played outside of VR, but VR will just immerse you in the experience more.
Which is how they should do it.
Yeah.
One of the Miyamoto or someone said that No, it was Gaben. He
Gabe
said
Newell.
that VR exclusives are a financial, just too high of a risk. You shouldn't do exclusive VRs just yet. It's not, the risk is too high. It's not worth it. You're alienating people. So it's good that they made this game VR accessible, which is how they should be doing it. You know what I mean?
Makes perfect sense, yeah.
I've also said forever myself, just real quick, before we move on, that that the horror genre I feel like is one that should absolutely be tapped into on VR, and they should tap it hard. You know what I mean? The horror genre is like the one killer app I think that you could convince me that VR is worthwhile. And they did it with this was a huge surprise announcement. I mean, people were expecting Resident Evil 7, but the way they showed it, it kind of misled you a little bit.
Yeah, because you guys on the reaction, you guys were like, "What is this? I don't know what this is." And you were kind of like almost down on it because you're almost just like, "This doesn't look like a game." And then Resident Evil 7 came on, and you were like, "Oh."
Well, because we knew at that point that's a respected franchise. We knew it's going to be a game.
Yeah,
they presented this so masterfully because people knew that Resident Evil 7 was being developed. They just kind of assumed that it was probably going to be a continuation of what 6 was doing. And then they presented this game as a horror game first and a Resident Evil game second.
Yes.
And that is perfect. It's great.
Because it signals they may be going back to that survival horror thing. Like instead of this action Resident Evil 6 terrible storyline, you know, and maybe, you know, it's a Capcom game, right? And it's going to have those terrible story elements. But you know what? If they can just recapture some of the magic that Resident Evil 4 had, I am totally good with it. Yeah. And I will buy this day one if it ends up being that good.
Yeah, like I'm not invested in the Resident Evil franchise, but I'm really happy for people that they're getting the Resident Evil they wanted. So that's good. I'm happy with that. Then just to move on, we saw Farpoint.
A bunch of VR stuff.
I was zoned out during Farpoint. I have no idea what that is.
I googled it just now and I don't remember much, but I do remember it looked okay.
It's like a first-person shooter on Mars, I think.
It looks like it.
That's the one game I forgot about in this entire conference.
That's Technomancer is what it is, but
Batman Arkham VR. Batman Arkham VR is an interesting concept, and I like that they had Mark Hamill doing the Joker voice, but that's about all I can say for that, because we saw nothing.
Yeah, I was confused about this at first, because I had no idea what it is, but then I'm going to try to be brief with this. I watched a developer interview. They said it's going to be focused more on the detective aspect of Batman, and you're going to be like walking around crime scenes and like observing stuff with the VR, and like that sounds really interesting, and I'm actually really excited for it now.
Cool.
My boss,
a detective game like that could work.
My boss played this game when he was at E3. It was one of the few VR games he actually was able to check out because of the lines and stuff. But he said that you really do get to like be Batman, and he said that was really impressive to him. I don't know.
Okay, that's cool. Final Fantasy 15 VR. Does this game need VR?
This is the stupidest edition I've ever seen. Any like, it's you get to look at this girl with like big something in
melons. Melons.
Let's move on.
I just gonna sell it.
I just got in trouble.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I actually think looks fun, but I don't want to buy a game where 50% of the content is locked behind the PlayStation Network or Xbox Live subscription. If I could trust them to make a game with a full campaign that would be fine to play without having to go online and play, I would buy this, but I don't want to. Because I'll play it online if Xbox Live and PSN didn't require me to pay for them, because I ain't doing that. That's a waste of my money. So I don't see why. It looks good, but I don't want to like it.
Apparently, during the trailer that they showed for the game, like people on the internet were freaking out, like, "What is this? What is this?" And like the whole time, I knew it was Call of Duty, and I'm like, I knew the internet was going to react that way. I think the game looks fine.
Yeah.
It's funny because
it looks like fun.
This is one of the best looking Call of Duties in years, really, in terms of the gameplay and the things they're doing to change it up. And yet every Call of Duty fan is like, this sucks. Whereas for years, you're all railing on the franchise for not changing, and then it changes, everyone freaks out. Like, I don't get this. Like, what is wrong with you idiots that like this franchise?
They did the same smart thing that Resident Evil 7 did, where they showed the game first as a cool, interesting sci-fi space game, and then they revealed it as a Call of Duty game second. And I think that's a brilliant way for both those franchises to do that.
Yeah, like I really like that low gravity kind of combat. I think that was really cool. I love the idea of moving around that sort of space. I know there's not going to be much of it, so I don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
But moving on, Modern Warfare remastered. Who cares? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot remastered.
Most disappointing moment of E3 of all E3 was this announcement.
Just the way they presented it, like they shouldn't have phrased it.
Like
the way they phrased
they had
that
like
was
the whole
terrible.
stage.
They built it up.
The whole stage like lit up.
They built it up so much.
Oh man.
Todd, go ahead.
They were basically, like I was saying, they phrased it terribly with like, they're like, and the first game that he's coming back. We're like, yes, Skylanders. No.
He looks that model in the Skylanders. Is it just me, or was there something really off about it? It just didn't look right.
Most of Skylanders models look bad. Donkey Kong looked bad in it.
Yeah,
I thought Donkey Kong looked kind of badass, to be honest with you. I thought he looked really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I haven't paid attention to Skylanders.
I feel like
I just don't care.
I feel like the Skylanders reveal for Crash Bandicoot was right up there with $599 and just
yeah, that was a bad time.
That was a bad moment for like in a conference that didn't have a lot of bad moments. That was a bad moment. Like
I think that was the worst part of this conference.
By itself, that knocked the score down for this conference from me from basically a 10 to a 9. That's what I ended up giving it. Because they're really after that. I mean, Lego Star Wars, whatever.
I think Lego Star Wars looks fun, and Lego games are fun, and I will stand by that. Death Stranding.
They dropped the freaking bomb. I mean, I knew Kojima was going to show up at this show just because I had a feeling. I didn't want to predict it because that would have been like stupid. But it ended up actually happening, so now I feel like an idiot. But go ahead, everybody.
I'm gonna say something controversial because I know people really like Kojima, but I think this looks like hipster pretentious garbage, and I don't see why. Like it looks like a university student trying way too hard to be artsy, and like, oh, there's a poetic meaning behind all this. There's dead crabs. He's got hands on him. There is a baby, and then it disappeared. It just looks like artsy drivel, and I get that people love Kojima and people have faith that this will be a good game because of that, but this trailer alone looks just, I don't get why people care. It just looks like garbage, and it looks like something that people shouldn't care
about. It looks like Prometheus is what it looks like.
The reason people care is, like you said, it's because it's Kojima and people trust Kojima, and like he has a track record of like showing us things that like we're meant to like dive into, try to put the pieces together, solve for ourselves, and him putting a trailer out like this is like a smorgasbord for people that love doing that. A lot of Kojima fans.
A smorgasbord for memes too, because there's a lot of good memes out there.
The memes are amazing for this.
Oh,
Can we just say that?
Yeah.
Can we supercut like a bunch of memes into the video right now? Like, I know that's like a little editing work, but it won't take long.
You guys are gonna have to send me these memes because I haven't seen any of them. But
there's like one where he's eating a hot dog, and there's Norman Reedus, Norman Vetus.
I don't know. I just personally can't get behind this because it's not a game. It's a hipster, weird, like overly artsy like trailer. I just can't. No. But yeah, Spider-Man though.
I'm excited for that.
But I'm a little bit worried because Sony, right, have been abusing Spider-Man for years. Like, they're the villains of the comic book movie world, and don't try and tell me The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was good, it's not. And they have, like, Marvel have only just pulled Sony out of their soulless money machine. I'm really worried, and I kind of have faith in Insomniac to make this good.
It's Insomniac.
I'm really worried this is just a move Sony are pulling, though, to, like, grab Spider-Man back for cash.
Well,
I just don't like it. Something about it makes me uncomfortable.
I don't think you're approaching this the way you should be, because Sony Pictures...
Help me understand.
Sony Pictures is different than Sony as a game developer, and I don't think that would have that much to do with like their game development. It might have a little bit to do with their decisions on like, we should make a Spider-Man game, but I don't know if it would go so far as to affect the production of the game, the story of the game, because Insomniac has been saying that they've been giving like full freedom to make the kind of Spider-Man game they want.
Okay, that's definitely great. It's just I think think I'm imagining that Sony has like a big Bond villain at the top who is sitting there looking at it going, people like Spider-Man now. Let's make a video game. You know, I just can't shake that feeling, and it worries me. And I know it shouldn't. I know it's just paranoia, and it's just me hating what Sony have done to Spider-Man recently so much, but I just can't handle it.
I'm just excited to have another good Spider-Man game.
Yeah, if they pull this off and it's good, like I'm hype about this, don't get me wrong, like this, I hope it's going to be amazing, and I'm very excited for it, and it's one of my favorite announcements this E3. There's just this small like niggling feeling in the back of my mind that there's evil behind it, you know?
Yeah.
So then they ended it with Days Gone gameplay, but we already kind of covered that, so
yeah.
I don't think we need to talk about that much more. I gave Sony a 9 out of 10. I think Spigel said earlier that he agrees with me on that. I think,
same.
Horizon Zero Dawn was the best game here. I think we're all on board with Sony being pretty much the winner apart from the final one. Yes?
They were a strong contender until the next one.
I mean, it's unfortunate that like Sony put on such a great show. And like, I was totally ready to be like, they win. Like, because I knew that Nintendo was going to show Zelda, and I just transitioning into that. Like, I knew it was going to be amazing. I didn't think that they would somehow single-handedly be able to win the show just by showing that, because, like, no matter how amazing it was, I didn't think the reaction would be what it was.
Yeah, it's...
The internet went crazy.
I really like how you kind of went dead silent while me and Josh were like going on about Spider-Man, and then the moment you could transition into Zelda, you were like, let's go, let's do this. I even did a
Snapchat recording while I was just waiting.
I just felt bad because you guys kept talking over Todd, so I was like, well, I'll just let them talk.
Yeah, it was pretty much a 9 out of 10 for Sony.
Yeah,
they were going to be Game of Show until I saw Nintendo. So
I think if we only count press conferences, because I feel weird comparing Nintendo to everyone else because it wasn't a press conference.
I've always felt weird about that.
It was a very different way of presenting everything. So I think if we just take press conferences into account, I think we can all say that Sony won. Yeah, correct?
Sony had the best conference.
Yeah.
Yes.
They didn't like win E3 per se. Arguably, it's very arguable about who won. That's what I like about this E3. Is it's actually, depending on who you're a fan of, they basically arguably won, kind of thing.
Like if you're a Microsoft fan, you can put together an argument. Like you can say Gears and Forza and Recore and all those games were amazing. If you're a Sony fan, you could say, you know, Days Gone and Horizon and God of War. If you're a Nintendo fan, you can say, look, Zelda was bigger on the social media than anything else.
Just it was like twice as big on the social media. Just like there's some charts out there and it even got bigger a few more days. Just Zelda is game of show.
It just I mean, it's not really fair because they showed about 4 hours of gameplay, so it's not like it's such an intense amount of like just so good, and it looks amazing. Like I have no words. Everything about it looks awesome. Everything about it looks great. They shield surfing totally steals the hype from Steep, as we mentioned earlier.
Yes. There's some snow that gets kicked up, actually.
I don't know how Nintendo did it. Like, all the negative stuff going into the E3 about them, like, oh, they're only going to show one game and they're not even going to really be there. Yeah. But, like, they just blew everybody's freaking minds. I don't even understand.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, and they showed so many little features, and they didn't even spoil anything. There was no story, there was no NPCs, because they took stuff, like they took villages and the NPCs and stuff out of that area for the demo so that they wouldn't spoil anything. So that's why, if anyone's arguing that the world looks a bit empty, that's why. It's because they've removed stuff. And like, the world still looks pretty populated. Yeah. Like there's caves and like little bokoblin like settlements everywhere, and there's so many things to find, and it's so good. The climbing looks amazing. Excuse me while I fangirl.
Yeah, you don't even love Zelda like as a franchise like I do. This is crazy for me to hear, guys.
I've been saying Nintendo doomed for about 3 years now.
Very annoyingly, I might add.
This has got me back. Like, this is hype.
And if that's, I know if that's showing anything about Nintendo this year, showing people that are like, yeah, Nintendo, and then this year like, oh my god, Nintendo, like that's to say anything. Like Nintendo.
Like last year, Nintendo kind of like, I was just like, whatever, Nintendo, who cares? This year, I'm like, oh my god. But like, and I'm trying to get all of my fangirling out of the way because I know we're planning on doing a podcast later on at some point where several people, I think we're going to get Omni on for that. They're going to talk about Zelda specifically, and it's just going to be like an hour of talking about that. So I don't really want to
probably more than an hour
here.
They're going to do seven hours. They're going to like watch all the videos and just talk over it.
Please, no. I don't want to.
Yeah, because I'm not on that podcast. I'm trying to just get like everything I love about this game. I'm trying to just word it now because I've got limited time to do so. Guys, how good is being able to take a Stalfos arm and beat dudes with it? How good?
Drop kicking a Stalfos head
into another Stalfos, where it then hits the other Stalfos head, sends it flying, and kills that Stalfos head. Whoa!
It's like,
yo, dog, I heard you like Stalfos arms, so we put a Stalfos arm in your Stalfos arm so you could kill Stalfos.
It's like that scene in Deadpool where he like decapitates a dude and then kicks the head into another dude in Zelda. How good! Like, the equipment system is rad. The fact that like items are just gonna show up and it's not like, oh, this dungeon is this item, yay! It's this. It's so good. The climbing, the fact that fire creates like an updraft so that you can like set something on fire to get a height advantage.
That is brilliant.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh man, it blew me away. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about anything else Nintendo showed on the second day, because I didn't watch the second day of streaming because
luckily enough, you can catch up on the MR/podcast we did.
Yeah, I mean, because if you guys listen to that, because that should be going up before this, like, we don't really need to cover all the Nintendo stuff. They had a great show.
I was playing Overwatch.
I just adored.
With you.
Just real quick, let's just go over the games we thought were really, really cool from Nintendo. Just like a brief mention. I thought Ever Oasis was really cool.
Yeah,
I really liked
Ever
Yokai
Oasis.
Watch too.
Yeah.
Box Boy looked really fun. Tokyo Mirage Sessions looked fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Mirage Sessions. I might actually pick that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Rhythm Heaven looked like a lot of fun. I saw a little bit of that. That looked good. I don't have a sense of rhythm, so I would be completely incompetent if I tried playing it, but it looks fun, so that looks good. Color Splash, I don't get the hate. I think it looks fine. That's it. Let's not have that argument.
Can I just point out the fact that we just mentioned pretty much every game that Nintendo showed, and like each one of us got something different out of it? That's really impressive that Nintendo managed to have such a well-rounded show in a year where everyone was like, oh yeah, they're not really doing anything this year.
I'm just to throw one thing out there though, I think Nintendo would have benefited by doing at least like a half an hour either press conference or Nintendo Direct before the streaming started on day one or before day two or whatever.
They could have done a Nintendo Direct.
Shown trailers.
They really could have done a Nintendo Direct with all the stuff they had to show this year. So it confuses me why they didn't.
Yeah. Because I honestly think if they had shown me trailers for all of these games, I would maybe have checked out the streaming on day two. But I didn't care about day two. I'm going to be honest with you.
Could you imagine if they had shown the Zelda trailer during their Nintendo Direct and they're like, come back in a day and you'll see gameplay? Like they would have like everything would have just exploded.
It would have been like if they showed that trailer and then they showed an hour of Pokemon while we all sat being blue balls.
Now
I was really mad about that, but to be fair, Pokemon Sun and Moon looks pretty good. It looks fine. It's not my type of game, but it looks fine. It was just really annoying that they showed the Zelda trailer and
either they could have they could have started out day two with Pokemon because then they went into Pokemon Go. But
that would have been way better.
The thing is that for whatever reason they showed it on day one, they couldn't have showed it at the end because everyone would have tuned out after Zelda's done. They're like, well, I'm going to go and take a nap for half a year.
100% correct.
Like, so they had to hint, yes, we're showing Zelda. Also, here's Pokemon. Also, here's 5 more hours of Zelda. Like, I forgive them for the Pokemon for showing that much after. That much?
Like, I forgive them.
You have to remember, guys.
At the time, it hurts.
Pokemon Sun and Moon is their big holiday game. It's really their only holiday game if you look at it like. Yeah. I mean, so they had to do it. We weren't happy with it at the time, but now it doesn't matter because we've seen Zelda, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's pretty much any criticism I had of Nintendo pretty much was forgiven with how much they showed of Zelda. Just, and I just have to always remind myself, Pokemon Go is not $35. Just keep that in mind.
I remember coming back. I came back off of Overwatch, and I was like, guys, did I miss anything from the thing?
Yeah.
And you guys were like, Pokemon And I was just like, what?
Are you kidding me?
What?
Yeah, apparently I was kidding.
And you clarified that later, and I was like, okay, that's fine.
It exploded my mind because of the way they presented that. But basically, because we already went over most of the stuff in the podcast for Nintendo, going over the technical stuff, their show floor was amazing.
Yes.
Like,
It had a really
pretty
cool
much,
like statues and stuff. It was pretty
just
great.
everything about Nintendo's show was pretty awesome. It wouldn't have worked as a conference, I admit, but I don't think it would have been a good idea for them to do a conference anyway. I think this was the best way. I think if Ubisoft did a conference like how if Ubisoft did like what Nintendo did, maybe they could have been forgiven for their time. But
I think if Ubisoft had done half an hour of a conference and then done like a treehouse style thing of here's all the demos, I think that would have worked really well. But nope. But yeah, so I would score Nintendo a 9 out of 10. The only reason I can't give it a 10 is just there are a couple of like day 2 I didn't watch because I wasn't interested. And I think I've got to factor that in. So I think it's almost perfect. It's like a 9. If I did percentages, it'd be a 9.5, but I refuse, so it's a 9.
See, that's why I went up straight to 10. It's just, I know a lot of people gave a 9.5, but it's just, they showed so much Zelda, and just the sheer explosion over the internet. Just, they obviously got a Game of Show, and that gives them more points. For Game of Show, it's just sort of like bonus points. So that sort of puts them over the top for me.
Yeah, it's like they showed so much Zelda and it all looked great. And that's kind of... Because if they'd shown loads of it and it didn't look that good, it would have been like, but it just...
And it was only 1% of the game.
Pause for a moment and think about the fact that you saw 6 hours of Zelda gameplay and nothing was covered more than once.
God.
How is that even possible?
Wow,
they freaking did it. They did it.
It's like Skyrim and Shadow of the Colossus had a baby and it was Zelda. Oh, I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped.
But basically, that's, I think it's, Josh, you gave like 9.5 or something. Right?
I was gonna
around that.
I was gonna explain why. Like I hyped that up in the Ministry Cap / podcast we did. Spigel, did you give your score yet?
I give them a 10 myself. Although I was not interested in everything they had to show. Even when they showed like Paper Mario Color Splash, it was like, I'm okay with this. Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because they had to show it. I mean, it's not like they didn't. It's not like they had a choice. They didn't show Metroid Prime Federation Force, which
it was a good call on their PR team.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like commandeer the hosting duties. But like, let's finish up.
Yeah.
All right,
Josh, what's your score again?
I'll try to briefly cover my things. I gave it a 9.5. I would have given it a 10. But I decided to give it a little dash of skepticism for Breath of the Wild, as excited as I am for that game.
Yeah.
Because like they only showed such a small part of it, and I mean that's great for like not revealing the rest of the game until later. But also we didn't really get to see like how expansive and, using finger quotes here, barren the rest of the overworld might be. Because maybe the shrines will be more spread out and you'll have to trek longer between them without much going on. I'm a little concerned about that.
That's a worry.
Yeah.
Fast travel almost guarantees that they're going to be a little spread out.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
So I'm throwing in a dash of skepticism that maybe the game isn't going to be as perfect as everyone is saying it's going to be, and as perfect as I want it to be.
Yeah, and I agree with that, sort of keeping that in mind. Although when I'm grading this, I'm grading on this E3 on what they showed. I mean, maybe when we do the pre-show next year, we can be like, all right, and how did their scores keep up with what we saw? Over the year?
I agree. We can only grade it based on what we see. We can't grade it on our skepticism and like whether we know a game is going to be bad or not. Like, because if a game looks good in their presentation, we just have to take it at face value until we actually play it.
Well, you can also grade it on whether or not you think they might be misleading us a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Game of Show.
Yeah.
I mean,
game of Show.
It was my Game of Show.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a really good transition point into our top and bottom fives of E3. We all have like separate lists, so.
Yep. I guess I could go first.
Let's go.
Game of Show.
Wait, hold on. Can we go? Can we go like
round
bottom
robin.
5 first? Like you do your 5, I'll do 5.
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
My top of my bottom 5 was Elder Scrolls card game. It wasn't developed as well as it could have been, and it's just another card game. I don't know if we're gonna do this like one game and then go around or all five.
Let's go around.
Okay.
So my top of my bottom 5. So just to be clear, it's like this game wasn't as bad, and then the one I say at the end was the worst one. Was Eagle Flight. It made me feel sick. I didn't like watching it.
My list was the other way around. I had Just Dance 17 as my least bad one.
Oh, okay. Well, you've already revealed the last one.
I know.
That's all right.
My least bad one was Death Stranding, just because it annoys me of how hipster trashy it is, and just I don't approve of that. It's trying too hard to be artsy. And
Hashtag controversial.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
I actually only made a bottom 3 list because I couldn't really think of too much other negative stuff that I felt about E3.
You didn't play the game right, Josh.
I didn't.
Ooh, it looks like it's turned around.
So,
Look like I would have the list that wasn't.
So I'll wait till you guys get to your number 3s, and then I'll start saying mine.
Okay, Todd. So what's your number 2 least bad game?
It was steep. Just gotta say, graphically, they sort of failed it on me. Although it looks like a really, really more developed like Wii Sports Resorts kind of thing, but it's just this. I can't get past the snow. That was so bad.
Wow.
No, people that like sledding games like that, they like the poof of snow. People that are into sledding, that's half of why they do it. It's just the explosion of snow. But this was like super compact, and when you touched it,
about snow. Maybe you should just let it go.
The second they touched it, as you saw, once he landed and then he moved his board. This is a legit criticism.
There is no way this game is going to be good.
It clipped the snow down in one frame.
It's early. Give it a break.
Let it go. Let it go.
But it still gets. Well, screw off. It's bad. You get to have Star Trek.
I'm just giving you crap.
No, me too. I really am.
Yeah, same.
Paper Mario Color Splash was my next one. I'm still not impressed. I don't think it looks good. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to. Even if I did, I wouldn't enjoy it just because I'm predisposed at this point. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw out there, as someone who I'm not invested in the Paper Mario series, I just want to say that the combat system with the cards looks like it could be fun. I'm interested to see where they go with that. I think it looks interesting.
You guys can go watch our Minish recap that we just did to see mine and Spigel's full thoughts on that game.
I also gave thoughts on it, and I'm one of the middle ground people on this.
So my next worst game, Gwent. Just because it's a card game, I don't care what it is. I don't care how good people think it is. I just hate card games. I just hate them
so much.
Get rid of them. Not my E3. Speaking of, Paper Mario, technically a card game, right? You guys said that. I stole that, but you guys said it earlier. The next one.
So Josh, go with your number 3.
Yeah, we're on number 3s now. My number 3 was the new FIFA game. Partially.
But there's managers now.
But what do they do?
That's one of the best memes of this E3 for sure.
What do the managers do?
I actually researched it. I googled this. They do nothing. Because before, just to be fair, it was just bald old men on the sideline that no one cared about at all.
Now it's a real person that no one cares about on the sideline.
Yeah.
And also another blight on this FIFA game. We didn't get any Pele. I mean, they have a movie coming out and they didn't promote it at all. It's just they didn't have any Pele. Except we had Alex Hunter.
Oh man.
And he's not as good.
Alex Hunter.
He's not as good.
You don't know how the game will be, but you'll soon find out.
Now come with me.
That's why I'm trying to pitch that one.
All right, Todd, what's your number 3?
My next one was Crash Bandicoot Skylanders.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not full game per se, but just the sheer disappointment. I mean, I know there wasn't supposed to be just disappointment levels, but the fact that they said his first game that he's coming back is Skylanders kind of thing.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's right.
My number 3 was Elder Scrolls Legends. Todd already touched on it. I thought it looked bad. I wasn't interested, and I thought it was like the lowest point of Bethesda's conference for sure.
Yeah, my number 3 was also Elder Scrolls card game, because Elder Scrolls card game, I hate card games. Die in a fire, burn them all.
All right, so Josh, your number 2 worst game of E3.
My number 2 was Elder Scrolls Legends.
Okay, there it is again.
Yeah,
none of us like that game.
The trailer, the way they presented it, they tried to present it as if it was like important story-wise to the
live
Scrolls
action.
lore.
It's like stupid.
And
it was like
the art they showed for that
still artwork for like
and
seconds
it was like
at a time.
A photo of a guy even.
Yeah. Like,
it's cringy.
it was a bad presentation. The game doesn't look that interesting. It was dull, boring.
Yeah,
And the crowd loved it. The crowd loved it.
The woman loved it. I don't know if anyone else loved
it. My next one, as to much of Josh's dismay, is Star Trek VR and Eagle Flight. Just to be half point on both, just because I don't really. I mean, Star Trek one could be a real nice full game, but Eagle Flight was a half game, so I'm sort of tacking that on. You know,
it's a mini game pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a tech show.
Gimmicky. Is what I would call it.
But yeah, that's what I felt about it. It didn't impress me too much. Maybe when VR becomes more of a economical option for me, then I'll maybe get it when it's on discount.
How much would you pay for Eagle Flight right now?
Eagle Flight?
Hypothetically.
Probably
$1? It's a freaking mobile game?
15 Eagle Flight, well, not mobile per se, but I'd maybe pay 15 on release.
Here's the thing, if
$5 on sale.
If VR was guaranteed to be mainstream, Eagle Flight might be like a fun game. I wouldn't play it just because of the whole, makes me feel sick thing, but like you have to have friends to play it who also have VR.
Yeah, very much.
That's hard for something that costs as much as it does. Well, yeah, shut up, Josh. That's not what I was trying to imply. My second to worst game was the Crash Bandicoot. I just put the Crash Bandicoot together. The fact that they announced remasters, which is disappointing because I already own the games, and I don't think there was a big cry for it to be remastered. And then the fact that they slapped me in the face and they said, but it's going to be in Imaginators too. Like, I don't give a crap about that. And you know what? Kids don't care about Skylanders anymore. I don't care about these arguments I'm having with people on Twitter about how Skylanders is still relevant. It's not. It doesn't sell. Go look up the numbers. It's like doing just over 1 million. That's not good for a franchise that's on every console.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna my number 2 real quick is Eagle Flight. I don't care. I don't like it. Make me nauseous. Go away, Eagle Flight. Shut up. I hate you. Josh, what's your number 1 worst game of this E3?
Number 1 was the Skylanders Crash Bandicoot thing.
A lot of stuff in common with our lists here.
Yeah.
I mean, as they
Pretty
would
much.
be. Pretty much for the same reasons that Spigel said, and even more so because I am like a diehard Crash Bandicoot fan, and like seeing that was it
Let me ask you this: as a
hurt.
diehard Bandicoot fan, like, were you excited about the remaster, or do you not really care?
Okay. I'm excited for it, but with a dash of skepticism because I'm not sure if the developers behind it are going to remake it from the ground up very faithfully, and I wonder what art direction they're going to take with it. It might be fantastic, but I'm going to be skeptical about it until I see more.
I think I already said my worst one was Elder Scrolls card game. Pretty much just to recap on that. Just wasn't developed. I don't know.
My worst one was the Star Trek Bridge Crew, just because I think, for one thing, I'm not interested in Star Trek at all. I'm not interested in VR at all. I'm not interested in a game that looks like crap at all. And I'm not interested in playing games with friends online at all. So it's just, it was the perfect storm of garbage.
You are the one demographic. It's all the check marks of just, it's perfectly fair not wanting that game.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it can
totally
be
with
argued.
Spigel on that. My number 1 worst is also Star Trek VR because it looks like garbage. Sorry, Josh.
I disagree with you guys, but I'll leave it at that, I guess.
But see, it could be a good game. But right now, the player models just, I don't know.
Yeah, it could end up being alright, but it's just from what we saw of that and the way it was presented in that conference was just.
And who knows? Maybe those were stand-in graphics.
Yeah,
but it's coming out like a month or so.
So we're like 2 hours in. Let's just finish with the top fives. Yeah.
Yeah. Just sort of.
Yeah, let's leave our negativity circle jerk into a positivity circle jerk to end it off. I'm not going to do a top 5 games of E3 because me and Chris are going to bring back the 8 Brits. We're going to do a top 8 games of E3.
Hold on. The screaming lady for 8 Brit.
Sort of a British scream.
All right, so who wants to go first on these top 5s?
Keeping with the Horizon Zero Dawn was my number 5 on my list
Nice.
for best games of the show. It looked really fun. It looked like a brand new world that we'll be able to explore and see. I'm hoping that it's not downgraded too much because you also have to keep that in mind.
Horizon Zero Dawn was also my number 5, believe it or not. I think it looks really, really good. And I'm super excited to experience it because it, like I said before, it looks like a combination of all the games that I really love right now, which is Xenoblade Chronicles X and well, not Zelda, but yeah, Zelda pretty much. I don't think I said that earlier actually. Yeah.
So the first 4 on my top 5 list, they're not really in any particular order of like how excited I am for them or how well I think they're presented.
Right.
But coincidentally, the one I have in the number 5 spot is also Horizon Zero Dawn.
Wow! Hat trick!
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Gameplay looks really fun. I love the concept. Graphically, it looks fantastic. We'll see if it looks like that at launch.
Yeah.
Next
Next on my list was Ever Oasis. It's a bit weird putting that above Horizon Zero Dawn, but I just really liked. It's like Dark Souls for kids kind of thing. It just looks really promising. Especially for what it was on DS, I believe.
3DS, yeah. Todd, we are locked in. Guess what my number 4 is?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
I can't believe that we may have a new bromance brewing here at the ZBN.
It's a psychic mind meld.
Tune into the newest episode of Effortless where I've replaced Piddle with Todd, and I've replaced myself with Josh. I love
it's
new
called
IP.
Rush the Fort.
I love new IP, and I love Nintendo, and a new IP from Nintendo and Square. It's Square Enix, right? Or who is it? Oh no, it's Grezzo. It's Grezzo. And Grezzo does fantastic work with these Zelda remakes. So I'm very excited.
My number 4, I didn't have Ever Oasis on here, even though I'm really excited for that game. I have Recore in the number 4 spot. It looks really fun. I'm excited to play it eventually if I get a PC that can run it. Maybe it's well optimized for my PC. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Next on my list. Now, this one's a bit hard because it's more of my bias towards my 2 and 3, but 3 on my list was We Happy Few.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was definitely
on
in the
my
top.
list too.
I really like the premise. We actually thought it was going to be a new BioShock game, but that was with good reason because it looked good.
Yeah.
This is an indie
There's
game.
nothing wrong with
It's an
being-
indie game that somehow managed to steal the show at Microsoft's conference.
It's indie?
Right?
See, I love indie games that don't look blatantly, obviously indie. You know what I mean? Rocket League. But I'm just pushing on that. But I didn't know it was indie. That makes it amazing.
Well, now I feel like an idiot because what if it isn't indie? I don't even know.
Oh my god!
I assumed that it was.
Maybe.
Probably won't be.
My number 3 was Scalebound. Unlike Dan, I'm very excited about Scalebound. I think I'm like super into those monster hunting games that are not called Monster Hunter because that's too complicated. I just love fighting big monsters, and I love over the top quirky Platinum Games game design because I adored Bayonetta, the bit of it that I played, and I'm gonna get back to playing it someday. And Scalebound, I'm just really excited for.
All right. My number 3 was We Happy Few, for pretty much the same reasons as Todd. I don't want to dwell too much on this. We should get moving on.
Yeah.
My number 2 was, this was the big surprise one that I was going to talk about, was God of War on PS4.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I didn't
really consider it.
I just think it looks fantastic. It got me excited in a franchise that has not really, I'm not gonna say it hasn't done anything for me in the past, but I just viewed it as like, oh, that's like a couple solid games, God of War 1 and 2. God of War, this new one looks like it's gonna blow them right out of the water. And I got excited about the franchise for the first time in many years. So it really hit at the right time, I guess. And then the orchestra, I'm a sucker for orchestras, so I get, you know, the whole thing was just, the presentation was phenomenal.
Number 2 on my list was Battlefield 1. It would have been
I'm
first
sorry,
on my
I just
list had
realized we went
Zelda.
out of order. I thought...
That's fine. But Battlefield 1 was on mine mainly because of how much hype it had. It had the most hype of all the games until Zelda was announced. It's the most liked trailer on YouTube history ever. So, I mean, that was a bit of a snowball effect, to be fair. But I'm really hyped up for this game. There's going to be the French Army as DLC because they wanted to put more emphasis on it. So any criticism about that was actually, I know I joked about it myself, but they're getting a main campaign with that DLC. So,
which button is the surrender button?
Hey.
Hey.
They didn't surrender in World War One.
Oh well, excuse me for not knowing my European history as well as you. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is
Josh.
Resident Evil 7.
I'm
I'm really
that barely missed my list.
I'm really excited for this. I think I probably shouldn't be trusting Capcom as much as I am because they've let us down before. But this shows that they're listening to the fans. They're going back to their roots, and they've shown that they can still do horror as long as they're focused on doing a horror. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. It's gonna be great. Maybe, probably.
Cool. I think we know what everyone's number 1 is, right?
Let's all say it
definitely,
together. 1, 2, 3.
Zelda Breath of
Yokai
the Wild.
Watch 2.
Titanfall 2.
Box Boy. No. I mean, for the reasons we already talked about and the reasons you're gonna hear over the next like several months on the ZBN, Zelda Breath of the Wild looks incredible.
Yeah. Objectively, game
spoilers. Me and Chris both really liked Zelda.
I want to see one person on the ZBN not put Zelda number 1 and just piss us all off.
All right, BLB, changing my 8-bit list.
Real quick, did anybody like go farther than that and do like a top 10? I did a top 10. I just want to know what your like number 6. Like, what was the game that just missed the cut for you?
I don't know.
Oh,
let me just scroll through my thing.
Yeah.
But I'll go. My two
my
two that were flip flopping were Resident Evil 7 and We Happy Few. I really wanted to put both of them on the list.
Yeah,
I really did.
For me, it was sort of For Honor or Ghost Recon Wildlands. They were pretty good, but didn't have as enough hype as the other 5 that I listed. And Prey.
Yeah, Prey looks good, but I mean, I can't get hyped because there's no gameplay for Prey. I want to see how it plays. I'm intrigued, but need to know more. But yeah. If you want to see my rankings of my top 8, stay tuned to the ZBN because we're going to have an 8-bit. It's going to come back. Apparently some people want that. I mean, I've heard we've had comments of like, when's 8-bit coming back? And I'm like, people want it to come back? But yeah, it's on its way. We've got one that's we recorded ages ago, so I'm going to edit that up. So we're going to have at least 2 in the next month or so. We hopefully coming back. So that's a little bit of news for anyone who cares.
If you made it to the end of this show, then you deserve some news.
On that note, we just made this is the longest podcast now by 2 minutes, passing Ubisoft.
Wow.
Well, you know what? It's funny
because
the Ubisoft one like wasn't enjoyable, but I had fun this whole time. I didn't even notice how long we were going. To be honest, I mean, I'm sure people are like, "Oh, this was really long," but I had fun, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
If you made it all the way to the end of this, make sure to post Josh is lame and the Undertale's the worst in the comments, because then we'll know that you made it to the end.
That's Star Trek VR.
You already did that joke.
Give your reason why Star Trek VR sucks.
So let me know why I'm wrong down in the comments.
Josh, I have a feeling you're gonna get like a lot of criticism for this show, because every time we were all like gushing about anything, you're like, I have a little skepticism about this, and here's why. And like it was totally valid, but it felt like every time
totally valid.
Every time we all just went nuts over something, you're like, I'm gonna be that guy and play devil's advocate.
Well, someone has to. Someone has to.
I'm gonna throw out there. I did criticize the new Kojima game and Scalebound, so I think I'm kind of gonna get some of that.
You're in for it, bud. You really are.
Okay, just to throw some stuff on the fire, Zelda looks like trash, and I think it's going to be rubbish. So come at me, guys.
So thank you.
Fight me
Good night.
IRL. All right, bye. Please, that was a lie. I mean,
do the outro.
How would you
do the outro?
That's
that's
okay. This has been the ZBN.
It's been the ZBN.
This has been the ZBN. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. Watch our other stuff. If you can sit through it, watch our reactions, because there are some good jokes in there.
Even though they're terrible.
Endure. Yeah, even though they're terrible, and even though the Ubisoft one might have been a bit of a negativity circle jerk, I'm gonna admit that now because it was
Yeah.
we were a bit harsh on there. But to be fair, we were kind of funny at the same time. I think maybe.
I am told that
but-
we were very, very funny. We were all on for that reaction. So yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. Well, good. Bye.
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 That was
the most
that
abrupt.
was so abrupt. Can we do a proper?
Yeah, it was
I'm
really-
Spiegel. Hello. Goodbye.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Oh, goodbye.